Good evening, beautiful, wonderful people of YouTube. How are you doing on this fine Tuesday evening? I know we're not in the studio and it's a bit different, but there's a number of reasons why, right? First of all, there's the problem of it being 9th edition. Secondly, there's a ton of new rules coming out we want to talk about. Thirdly, Joe is incredibly busy right now with other things, and so actually giving him some extra time is super helpful. We also didn't have a third person for today. So Joe and I couldn't do it on our own. So I said, you know what, stay home, keep working on the thing that you're working on that we can't talk about, and we'll worry about games on Thursday. We will be back on Thursday with another live game of 40k. So don't worry, there will be a game. It will be 9th edition. No one cares about 9th edition because we're talking about 10th. And 10th is why we're here tonight. We're here to talk about some new rules for both Astra Militarum and Chaos Demons. Both factions I play. Both factions I like. Guard also a faction that Joe plays. We're going to talk about those rules tonight. We're going to read through the Guard-specific rules from yesterday, the Demon-specific rules from today, and we'll talk about those rules. We'll stay live to a point for as long as you guys keep wanting me to stay live, right? So normally we stream to like 10:30 on a Tuesday. I'm happy to do 9:30, 10 o'clock on a stream. If you guys make it fun, I'll keep here. We'll stay here. We'll keep doing it. We'll keep talking to you people. So don't worry, you're not going to get less content just because it's not a game. You still get to see my horribly ugly mug for the next probably 2 to 3 hours. Thank you so much for joining us, you wonderful and beautiful, beautiful people. How are we all doing on this Tuesday? If you're in the UK, it was back to work day today because yesterday was an extra public holiday for the King's coronation. So how did you spend your bank holiday? That's all I care. Garcia says, Mr. Dempsey running late, I see. Yeah, I mean, I might be tumbling down a rabbit hole of learning about 3D printing, and I might have been on Amazon adding them to my basket, and then I realized how much it costs. I was like, oh, I had an idea that we could go onto the Shopify page and start selling shoulder pads with the channel logo on it, and rhino doors with the channel logo on it, and stuff like that. And I was like, cool, let's get a printer. And I want a nice 8K printer so there's no print line, so you can put them on your tanks. It looks not, and then I saw the price. Wow. Okay. Cancelling live games. We VT now. No, yes, because we're still here streaming. That's the difference. The difference between flat cancelling the stream and then there's still doing a stream. I'm talking about something interesting. Nordos, thank you for the gifted membership, kicking us off already with a gifted one. You're a hero. I'll update this right away. But thank you so much. Of course, one of the best ways of supporting the channel is to gift memberships. You people are amazing. And if we're going to get hold of this 3D printer, perhaps more gifting and super chatting would help. I'm just saying, that's 2 ways you can support. You can obviously choose to become a member all by yourself, spend your own real hard-earned money, and come and join us in the Great Hall Discord server, !Discord, if you are in fact a member, so you can come and hang out with us. Otherwise, you can do the normal things, right? Hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon. All helps for me. All helps, right? So, I have my trusty juice. I did something stupid today, chat, right? I did something stupid today. I went for a run. It was horrible. I have not been for an outdoors run in like 5+ years, maybe longer. I don't know if I actually properly ran outside, with the exception of things like rugby and football, since I left the army, right? But I went today. I need to start looking after myself. Spent a lot of time working on the channel, a lot of time working on content, a lot of time building the business. I need to spend some time on myself. So I went for a run. 40k makes I would pay for them. But so my Amazon basket, I'll give you a heads up, right? An 8K printer, the resin, and a washing station and curing station comes to about £700, right? And the Thanes was like, crowdfund it. You guys know me. I don't like doing those sorts of things if I can help it, right? So yeah. Anyway, tonight we're going to talk about new rules, namely Astra Militarum and Chaos Demons. I would be very interested to hear what you guys think about it. If you want to specifically have a comment read out, you can chuck it in on a super chat if you want to. If it's less than 10, then it won't read it out for you, but I promise you I'll get to it. I'll make sure I get to any of those super chats that come through. If it's 10 or more, then Amy will interrupt me and read it out for you, right? Run what chased you. It wasn't what chased me, it's what's in front of me that bounces up and down as I run, okay? So, right, cool. Anyway, into the... Well, let's move this over here, like this. Let's bring this up here like this. Let's press... Which one are we going for first? Astra Militarum was yesterday, wasn't it? Was Astra Militarum? Yeah, Astra Militarum was yesterday. Okay, let's press that one, and then we'll do this. Boop. There we go. So, Faction Focus Astra Militarum released yesterday. So we're going to talk about yesterday's releases first. Dave, thank you for the 2. The only time I run is to the fridge. That's something else I'm trying to do. I'm not eating as much food. I'm not eating sugar. I'm not eating chocolate. Well, I am, but nowhere near what I have done. So I've got grapes and frozen berries. It's amazing. I actually feel quite good right now, but I might get hungry by the end of the stream. Anyway, the Hammer of the Emperor, the Astra Militarum. The Imperium is so mind-bogglingly vast, under constant attack from unknowable terrors within and without, and it is only by the daily sacrifice of the innumerable Astra Militarum troopers that the darkness is held back. I can't speak, I'm so tired, right, from a fucking 60-minute run. The Imperial Guard is the only organisation enormous enough to protect humanity's realm from one galactic edge to the other, built upon the blood and grit of the men and women who hold the line against aliens, mutants and heretics. With a new Tyranid invasion bursting out from the unexpected quarter, the Astra Militarum are harder pressed than ever, but they do have the bulwark of some tasty new rules. Interested in this, right? Because Astra Militarum, I would argue, with their 9th edition codex, was probably one of the more strongest ones. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. They were very, very powerful, I feel like, and I think certain Astra Militarum players are very concerned that with the rules refresh so soon after a codex, not only they're a bit hurt about it because they bought the codex, but they're worried they'll be toned right back down again. And I feel like they probably need to be toned down a little bit, maybe slightly comparatively to where they are right now. But let's see what their rules are. One ordinary mortal can't hope to stand against the galaxy's worst nightmares alone, and the commanders of the Astra Militarum know this well. Synergy is the name of their game. So, bellowing officers demand the best from their troops, while artillery thunders and tanks bury the foe in high explosive mayhem. The across-the-board boost in vehicle toughness is a gift from the Emperor himself. The Leman Russ and the Baneblade are both armoured up. Backed up by double-sized units of guardsmen, they present an impenetrable rule of steel that few foes will have the firepower to break through. I'm normally good at reading these, right? They might be expendable mortals thrown into hellish war zones with little more than a last gun and a prayer, but the Imperial Guard have one thing that makes them the envy of foul aliens and vile heretics the galaxy over. A highly skilled, much loved, and totally meritocratic officer class. The Voice of Command Army rule gives these battle-tested tacticians access to 6 specialised orders, allowing you to micromanage each of your units for the situation at hand. I like this because it was previously 6 orders across 3 different trees, okay? And we had the Perfectus orders and the standard infantry orders and the mechanised orders. And it sounds to me like we've gone to one order tree that can affect everything. And it's neater and it's tidier and it's simpler. I'm okay with it. Of course, PLAC mead is definitely okay, right? It's honey and honey's good for you. So mead is fine. Don't worry about that, right? Thank you so much for, here's Horace, there's Horace, everyone's Horace for the 2 sports bra fund. I appreciate it. Leaks Veeks for the 2 jock strap fund. I also appreciate it. Zeno, I assume yours is going to be read out very soon. Don't you worry. So, 6 orders, right? Voice of command. If your armies, this is the army faction rule, right? The army rule. If your army faction is Astra Militarum, in your command phase, offer some models from your army with this ability. There it is.
Hashtag printer for Liam.
Thanks, Senna. We're getting there, right? There's a start. This is a start. We'll get there. I appreciate it. Although I am not expecting you guys to fund £700 a 3D printer, but if we do, we can see shoulder pads and stuff in the store very soon. Just saying. Each officer's data sheet will specify how many orders it can issue and which units are eligible to receive those orders. Each time an officer model issues an order, select one of the orders below and then select one eligible friendly unit within 6 inches of that officer model to issue it to. The only thing I don't like about this is I kind of appreciated tank officers being able to issue orders 12 inches away, like they're doing it over a radio. I kind of like that. And that seems to have gone at the moment, 6 inches only. Until the start of your next command phase, the unit you selected is affected by that order. Unless otherwise stated, a unit can only be affected by one order at a time. Any order subsequently issued to that unit replaces the current one. If a unit being affected by an order becomes battle shocked, the order ceases to affect the unit. I like that as well. I like that interaction with battle shock narratively. They become battle shocked. They go to objective control 0. They lose the access to stratagems. They have to take desperate breakout tests if they fall back out of combat. You also lose orders. Narratively, I think that works. I'm actually for that one. And here are the orders, right? Move, move, move. Add 3 inches to the move characteristics of models in this unit. Seems reasonable. Fix bayonets. Improve the weapon skill characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in this unit by 1. Cool. Okay. Take aim. Improve the ballistic skill characteristic of range weapons equipped by models in this unit by 1. I like this as well when we consider that I think this is going to be the same set of orders that you put on tanks. That's quite nice. First rank, second rank fire. Improve. And the other thing that's important, right? So, Here's the thing that's important when you think about putting it on vehicles and stuff, and this is going to become more prevalent later on in the article, but specifically the way it's worded, improve the ballistic skill characteristic. So it's not +1 to hit. That's important because I suspect, I'm guessing, I hope they've kept that you can't improve a hit roll by more or less than 1, and you can't improve a wound roll by more or less than 1. That's a rule that currently exists in 9th. So this might be completely wrong from me, because it might be that they've changed this again in 10th back to how we used to have it, where you could be +3 or whatever. But I'm hoping they've kept that in. But this is important because it improves the ballistic skill characteristic, which means if you improve the ballistic skill characteristic of a tank by 1, and then you give it +1 to hit, there is in fact a way of adding +2 to hit to something like a tank or an infantry unit or something like that, potentially, if they've done that same limitation, and I like it. If there's also ways of getting +1 to hit, let's keep reading. Improve the attack's characteristic of rapid fire weapons equipped by models in this unit by 1 for first rank, second rank fire. Quite nice, especially because it's rapid fire weapons, which logically means it's also going to impact the plasma gun, which is quite tasty. Take cover, improve the save characteristic of model in this unit by 1. It cannot improve a model save to better than a 3+. I like that as well. Like, I really like the fact that they're really trying to differentiate between things like Terminator armor and standard armor.
#PrinterFund here's to a Joe Guard Colonel and a Liam Bloodthirster.
I mean, I would absolutely try and make a Joe Guard Colonel if we get printer funds in a night. I will try and find someone who can draw me a file for a Joe Guard Colonel that I can sell to you. And I'll just charge you for that particular model the cost of the resin and what's it called? Postage. There we go. Right, okay. So take cover. Like I said, you cannot improve the save better than 3+. I'm hoping that's going to become a current theme or a common theme throughout 40k 10th edition, because it would be really nice to actually differentiate the toughness of Terminator armor compared to the toughness of standard normal armor on other units. So I like that. Duty and Honor, improve the leadership and objective control characteristics of models in this unit by 1. That's actually really nice. +1 objective control. That's really good. I'm a big fan of that one. Right? With command squads and castellans urging on your infantry assets, tank commanders directing your armoured squadrons, and the Lord Solar bellowing inspiration at just about everybody, there's an order for every occasion, and an ear for every order. Just be careful not to target squads on the brink of collapse. If they fall into battle shock, your order will have been wasted. This is what I mean. I feel like all six of these are for any type of order, which is so simple. And if you think about the way in which these orders are written and you look at them, actually they could all be relevant for every unit. So I quite like it. Would you put fixed bayonets on Lehman Russ? Probably not. You're probably not going to do that. But it would improve its weapon skill, which I quite like, right? I quite like. Anyway. Unit Spotlight. The humble guardsman is the beating heart of the Astra Militarum, and few have as great a reputation as the Cadian shock troops. Trained practically from birth to hold the line against the Imperium's foes, these model soldiers can use their shock troops' ability to secure vital objectives in moments before pressing on with the assault. Similar abilities can be found on the core troops of many factions, allowing players to free up resources from camping objectives and take the fight to the enemy. So we know that objective secured as a thing is gone, right? And we have this objective control characteristic instead. And people have often said, well, to some extent, what's the point in taking line troops? This is interesting, okay? For every 10 models in the unit, up to 2 shock troopers can have the last gun replace one of the following specials. With one of the following, you cannot select the same weapon more than once per unit unless it contains 20 models, in which case you cannot select the same weapon more than twice per unit. For every 10 models, blah, 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 Vox, etc. So you can take up to 20 Cadian shock troops in a unit. They've pushed it to units of 20. Narratively, I don't like this. Narratively, I'm against it, to be clear. Because Cadian shock troops, or guardsmen squads in general, narratively operate in 10-man units and break into 2 fire teams, okay? 20-man units is not something that standard troopers do. It's something that, for what they call, not force recruits, you know what I'm on about, right? The hordes used to get before. Right, it's not something I don't like 20 per unit. I would have much preferred to see platoons come back personally, but I don't think they're ever going to do that. And I don't like this 20. That being said, the fact that you can now put a single order on 20 troops is pretty tasty. Okay, so we like that. Okay, but I don't like it being used at 20 narratively. So they've got a movement of 6, we know that. Toughness of 3, pretty standard. A flak armor save of 5, 1 wound. Leadership 7+ is an average. It's the same as Necrons, which I find a bit odd that a Cadian shock troop has the same leadership as a Necron warrior. Conscripts, thank you, team. I don't feel like that makes much sense. feel like that's a swing and a miss there because they should be different. They should be not the same. And an objective control of 2. That does mean if you have all 20 of your guardsmen, then your objective control of 2 means you've got 40 objective control on that particular objective, right? 40 points of objective control models if you all 20 are in range of that objective, which is going to be hard with a 3-inch range from the 40mm objective, but that's quite substantial. You then put that order on for +1 objective control. That's 60 objective control from 1 infantry unit. Pretty tasty, right? So, I spoke about the shock troops ability. At the end of your command phase, if this unit is within range of an objective marker you control, that objective marker remains under your control even if you have no models within range of it until your opponent controls it at the start of any turn. At the start or end of any turn. Sticky objectives. Okay, so you move on to an objective in no man's land. In your command phase, you hold it and you score those points. You can then move off of it and it remains under your control and you continue to score points for it until an enemy unit at the start or end of any turn. Any turn is the interesting thing there because it used to be any phase until your opponent controls it at the start or end of any turn. It used to be phase. So no longer can you move on to an objective, stop it from being held by the Cadians, charge off of it, and it's still no longer sticky, right? So now, if you move in range of an objective, you didn't start the turn in range of the objective. If you then charge off of it with your unit into one of my units, I still control that objective because you haven't held it at the start or end of the turn. So it's a very subtle differentiation from the current rules for sticky objectives. I actually quite like it. I do. I'm a fan of that one. And the Voxcaster ability. This one I find a bit weird, right? Each time you target the bearer's unit with a stratagem, roll 1d6, adding 1 to the result if there are 1 or more friendly officer models within 6 inches. On a 5+, you gain 1 CP. I mean, I don't like that. That's the one of the little things I've seen for the whole 2 sets of rules over the last 2 days that I'm not a big fan of. For me, Voxcasters should have impacted the range of orders. It's very simple. It's a Voxcaster. It's a radio. Like, I don't hate it. I don't dislike it. I'm just not a fan of it because I feel like there could have been a more narrative choice. Orders now impacted 12 inches or something like that, right? So, it's all right. I was about to say originally when I first read it, I was like, oh, it's simpler because it's just you do this, but you've still got if an officer within 6 inches, you then do it on a fight. Like, okay, so it's still a little bit of late. I'm not a big fan of that one. I think that's a bit of a swing and a miss there personally for me, but I don't hate it, right? What's interesting as well, grenade launcher, no actual grenades, grenade keyword. That's going to be interesting how that works. Keen-eyed commanders will notice that the Cadian shock troops can now form squads of 10 or 20 models, and they're not alone. Catters and Jungle Fighters, Deathcore, Krieg, and Classic Infantry squads can all double up their numbers, meaning each of your orders can affect up to twice as many troopers as before. Apart from that's bollocks, because you used to be able to bounce orders. So this is where the people who write the articles haven't got a fucking clue what they're talking about, because you used to be able to order a unit of infantry and bounce it to another unit of infantry, and then from the original unit of infantry bounce it to another unit of infantry. So you could have had 30 infantry under one order, whereas now you can max out at 20. So when it says meaning each of your orders can affect twice as many troopers, ignore that point because it's complete nonsense. On the opposite end of the scale is the legendary Baneblade, a Titanic war machine. I'm excited by this, by the way, because these have kind of not really been playable. A Titanic war machine that revels in its upgraded durability. This massive tank can share some of its improved resilience with its smaller comrades, courtesy of the Rolling Fortress ability, which turns it into a mobile piece of cover. Okay, Baneblade, 9 inches, toughness 13. I think the monolith was 14, so it's not as tough as a monolith. I feel like that kind of makes sense. Save 2+. Wounds 24, leadership 7+, objective control 8, and a bunch of weapons there. Right, the militia cannon already jumped out at me with a D6 +3 shots when it used to be D6 and strength 14. AP -3 as well, which we're told is pretty rare in this new edition. That's quite good. The Baneblade cannon with its 3d6 shots is the same as it was before, but it's strength 12 instead of strength 9 now, and down to AP2 from AP3, but still flat 3 damage. And a blast weapon, so it's 3d6 +1 for every 5 models you're shooting at. I quite like that. The thing that really got me, chat, if I'm honest with you, is Twin Heavy Bolter and Twin Heavy Flamer. So Twin Heavy Bolter with sustained hits 1 Twin Linked. Every hit gives you an additional hit, and Twin Linked means you reroll wounds. And then Twin Heavy Flamer with ignores cover Torrent Twin Linked, meaning that Twin Heavy Flamer now rerolls wounds. It's D6 shots instead of 2d6, cool, and the Heavy Bolt is 3 shots instead of 6. It rerolls runes. That's quite interesting when you can put a ton of heavy flamers on this particular vehicle, right? Armored tracks in melee, 6 attacks, weapon skill 4, strength 8, AP nothing. Lots of melee weapons on tanks, AP nothing. Very interesting, okay? Core is deadly demise D6 plus 2, so if it explodes, it's doing a minimum of 3 mortal wounds to units within, I assume, 6 inches. Okay, D6 plus 2, it's different to anything I think I've seen so far. It's normally been D3 or D6. Rolling Fortress, it says that this is an ability that is on some of the smaller comrades as well, so I'm assuming it's on things like Lehman Russes. Each time a range attack is allocated to an Astra Militare model from your army, if that model is not fully visible to an enemy model in the attacking unit because of this Baneblade model, that model has the benefit of cover against that attack. Narratively, I love that. So narratively, I really, really, really like that one. Okay, I'm a fan of that one. If it's damaged with 1 to 8 wounds remaining, subtract 4 from its objective control, much like the monolith, we half it to 4. And every time it makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Okay, big fan, big fan. Now, if we look at the ballistic skill, it's flat 4+ all the way down the line there, but it's lost turret weapon, which was a thing that we had obviously currently in 9th edition, or then we have currently in 9th edition. But don't forget, you can put take aim, I think it's called. You can put take aim on this to give take aim. Oh, my mouse has gone mad. Improve the ballistic skill characteristic of ranged weapons, plural, by 1. So you put take aim on a Baneblade, and this all goes to 3+. All of it, not just the turret weapon. Pretty terrifying, right? Vehicle Titanic, Imperium Smoke, Baneblades. Smoke, I assume, is another keyword locked to a stratagem somewhere. The rhythm of an Imperial assault is the constant dull thud of battle cannons firing up and down the line as Lehman Russ battle tanks lob shells into enemy positions. These hefty guns have always been a great all-round weapon for tackling light and heavy targets alike, and they earn a welcome boost to their strength. So, 40-inch range, D6 plus 3, the same. Ballistic skill 4, again, lost turret weapon, right? So it's hitting worse now, strictly. Strength 10 instead of the strength 8 it was before. AP 1 instead of the AP 2 it was before. And flat 3 damage again. Yet even this battle cannon looks... I mean, it's okay. The AP is going down everywhere, right? And it's D6 plus 3 but blast. So again, you're shooting at 5 or 10 models. You're shooting at 10 models, it becomes D6 plus 5, which is quite tasty, okay? If you can put the order on the Baneblade. Yes. But it looks like there's no restrictions to what you put orders on. Friendly models in your army. So I feel like the way I read it is that you'll be fine to put orders on a Baneblade. Even the battle cannon looks a little more like a pea shooter next to the true king of battlefield firepower, and I got excited with this one, right? The volcano cannon. Now, I want to say something before we look at the statistics of this. A lot of people moaning about it. It's a volcano cannon. Narratively, this is a Titan killer. The Shadow Sword Super Heavy Tank is essentially a delivery system for this behemoth, and its raw power is exactly what you need in a dedicated Titan killer. Okay, they addressed it. A dedicated Titan killer. So when you look at this, remember, this thing is designed to kill Titans, okay? The volcano cannon, blast heavy. Heavy is interesting. If it stays still, it gets +1 to hit. Okay? Which means you put an order on it to 3 and you go heavy and stay still. You're hitting on 2s. 96-inch range. D3 plus 1 attacks is nice. 1.5 is the average on a D3. So you're getting 2 to 3 shots on average. Strength 24. AP -5. Flat 12 damage. Not remembering that if you don't buff this with orders and staying still, you're getting an average of maybe 3 shots. You're hitting an average of 1 to 2 times. You then will probably wound most of the things you shoot at. But again, if you think about if it was shooting at another Baneblade, which is toughness 13, you're still only wounding on 3s. AP 5, so assuming they've not got an invulnerable save, you'll probably go 3 and then 12 damage. I think this sits in a nice place because if you've got an invulnerable save, if Imperial Knights still have their ion shields, they're still going to get a 1 in 3 chance of saving if you get 1 hit, 1 wound, etc. Right? So this is a volcano cannon. It's what a volcano cannon should be like, okay? Stratagem Spotlight. As numerous as your massed conscripts are, there often comes a time when the noble sacrifices pile a little too high and more able bodies are needed for the Emperor's service. Fortunately, commanders of combined regiment detachment can call upon fresh reinforcements when things get a bit dicey. So it's 2 CP, all right? Any phase... 1 regiment from your army that was just destroyed, you can use this stratagem on that unit even though it was just destroyed. Add a new unit to your army identical to your destroyed unit in strategic reserves at its starting strength with all of its wounds remaining. This stratagem cannot be used to return destroyed character units to your attached units. 1 regiment unit from your army. 1 regiment unit from your army. What's a regiment unit is what I care about. Because this doesn't have the regiment keyword. This does. So you can bring back Cadian shock troops. You cannot bring back a Baneblade, which makes perfect sense. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Again, love the way they're laying out stratagems. That sounds like a cool strat for Guardsmen as well. What sort of units have regiment keyword, you ask? Oh, we just did, yeah. Your core infantry squads, of course, but also the big guns of the heavy weapon squads and field and ordnance batteries, elites like Tempest Assailants, and even fast movement Rough Riders and Sentinel teams. Your reserves are truly as limited as your devotion. Anything but tanks, basically, which is cool, right? Word from the studio. We won't read about Black Library. As James from the Warhammer Design Studio told us, with the combined regiment detachment, we wanted to evoke an Astra Militarum force drawing on all of its human courage to stand firm against the foe. Picture guardsmen and tanks hunkering down to blast the oncoming enemy, and you have the Born Soldiers detachment rule, which confers lethal hits on range attacks made by units that remain stationary. So, Born Soldiers has changed. You only get 6s to hit auto wound if you stay still, which is perfectly narrative. You can take a better shot if you're not moving. It's just a fact, okay? Don't care all you ex-squaddies out there. You take a better shot if you stood still. The enhancements you can give to characters play into this further, whether you use Drill Commander to lend your stationary units critical hits on rolls of 5s instead of 6s, or the Death Mask of Elenius, which sees the objective control characteristic of the bearer's unit drop only by to 1 when battle shocked rather than 0. With a flexible crop of stratagems on top of this, a combined regiment detachment promises to be a well-rounded fighting machine capable of anything high command might ask of it. Sounds great. Love it. This is good. Okay. We got some narrative stuff. And then next is Demons, and tomorrow is the Sisters of Battle. So that team is Astra Militarum. So we're going to take a moment. What do we think? Leaks, I think I got your jockstrap fund. Thank you for that one. I think I got that one anyway. We got okay, nothing more. 1 gifted membership. All that fucking half an hour in team. 1 gifted membership. Anyone is a Born Soldier now. Might be good for Kazakin, maybe. Rough Riders. Sounds decent. So Nids and Guard can bring models back. I'm going to riot if I can't revive Poxwalkers with a stratagem every term, says Legio Panda. I mean, at least Poxwalkers are like the most... Like, that's the most narrative of bringing things back, right? Reinforcements. GWs have been watching chat plays. I'm telling you, they watch the channel. It must be. 2 is the average roll of a D3. Oh, yeah, absolutely, obviously. But still, so 2 plus 1 is 3, right? And there's a ballistic skill of 4 plus. So you're hitting 1.5 times. So 1 to 2 times you're hitting. So the point stands. Call of Duty says I get better if I do a 360 spin. Yeah, absolutely. Sentinel spam. Well, maybe. Sentinels have been incredibly good currently because of their platoon and squadron keyword, right? So they've already been a pretty popular choice amongst Astra Militarum players. It looks pretty nice. Surprised turret weapons didn't get the heavy keyword. I think maybe it's encouraging you to be a bit more picky with your orders, I guess. I don't know. Guard looks tasty and I play Grey Knights and Orcs. They do. I think they look good, yeah. Crisis, you did it! Thank you for the gifted 1. Oh, I get to update my thing again. Yay! Yay! Oh, hang on. I'm F11 out of that. I say yay. 1 at a time is a pain. Oh, Legio Panda, thank you for the 5. Tyler, thank you for the 5. All right, okay, calm down. I was joking, people, all right? But thank you. I appreciate it. Massively. It would be cool on my tracker to get to 600 tonight, I'm just saying. It would be cool. I like the 20-man blobs. Was afraid I couldn't bring an infantry horde. So I'm glad you can bring infantry hordes. That's cool, because bringing infantry hordes for Astra Militarum is something that you should be able to do. So I am glad you can bring infantry hordes. However, 20-man units, I'm just not a fan of 20-man units. I would have much preferred to be able to take infantry platoons. That would have made me happier. All right, did they share about turret weapons shooting out of combat? They don't think they've told us about that yet. Vehicle shooting out of combat or anything like that, or monsters. Like, what happens now? So you can shoot in combat if you're a vehicle or monster. If it's heavy, it's -1 to hit. If it's blast, you can't. If it's a turret weapon that lets you shoot out, I have no idea if any of that remains right now, as far as I'm aware. Can we take a moment to appreciate the strength 9 grenade launcher now? No more of that strength 6 crack rubbish. Yeah, crack is like, in missiles in general, is all up to strength 9, right? Even for missile launches. Is Joe happy with his 10th guard stuff? I haven't actually asked him. Jack Waller, thank you for the 1. Yes. Beautiful people. Like, closing on that 600 mark. We can do it. You could do 700. Do that? Fancy that one, chat? Come on, there's 3D printers afoot. Channel shoulder pads. Channel rhino doors. Just saying. What else can we do? I'm out of ideas already. But anyway, thank you so much, Jack, for the one. The 20-man squad is just a workaround for the battle line rule. Yeah, it is. But if you like, if I think it was 5th edition was the last. Was it 5th edition? Was the last time we had platoons? I can't remember. I think it might have been 5th edition, where if you took a single troops choice as an infantry platoon, you had to have 20 infantry and a command squad of 5, a platoon command squad of 5 for your infantry platoon. That's one selection, one choice on the force organisation chart. And maybe that doesn't work with this new card system. Maybe that's too messy. Maybe there's too much to try and squeeze onto a card. Because if you look at the data sheets, they're not showing us force organizational roles. Okay, they're not showing us troops or HQ or heavy support or any of that stuff, right? So they are showing us where is it? They're showing us the tanks that have got the Baneblade, where it's got vehicle, it's got Titanic, but it doesn't show us having super heavy anywhere. Like, it just doesn't have that. It's not there anymore. If we go to the infantry, the Cadian shock troops, keywords, infantry, okay, battle line, Imperium, so it's got the battle line keyword, but there's no troops choice. There's no elites choice. There's no heavy support choice anymore. That seems to be gone entirely. They seem to have just got rid of that, which I'm kind of okay with it. I'm okay with it, but we'll see, right? It'll be interesting. Love some of them. That's being put in through some of these rules. Hang on, love some of that's being put in through some of these rules. So far, it feels like guard. It does feel like guard, yeah. It does feel good. But yeah, so there's no troops. There's no. So it wouldn't be like one troop choices as a platoon. So I kind of maybe guess why they've gone 20 instead. But strength of 9 grenade launchers make grenade launchers good. Yeah, it does. It brings them in line with where they probably should be in terms of firing a crack round, right? Print Dempsey team heads for units. We can do that. We can do that. New chapter, the Liams of Dempsey. 40k would be 40k about to be World of Tanks. Wow, maybe. I was 5th, and that codex I gave you, it was 5th, and that codex I gave you the last edition of Proper Guard. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Meg's here. Hey, Meg, how are you? I like the demon stuff I read hours ago. Very narrative and cool. We're going to get to that in just a moment, wee man. We're just seeing what people think about Guard. Currently pretty positive. Just a thought, but you could do custom objective markers. There's lots of stuff we could probably do with printers in the future. There's a whole other thing. There's a whole other bunch of stuff I could sell to you people, right? I hope they have a catch-in detachment for their codex or something. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Maybe there aren't any roles just hard-hitting. I mean, I don't think there is, Steve. That's my point. Like, I feel like building your army now is not going to be, okay, I need 1 HQ and I need 2 troops or 3 troops or whatever, or I need 3 heavy support, or I need 3 fast attack. I feel like that's gone, right? I feel like there is none of that anymore. I feel like it's just, cool, here's 2,000 points. What do you want to take? Take anything you want. Just put it in. I feel that's great. I think that's really, really cool. I'm a big fan of that personally. So anyway, thank you so much to everybody who's gifted memberships. 13 so far. It's low. It's slow. I feel like you're all saving for 10th edition, right? Which I get. I get it. Okay, right. So we have another faction focus. I also want you to keep in mind, people, the stream we did on Sunday, right, about how narrative are these rules. So I feel like the guards fits quite nicely in line with these things are quite narrative right now. James, thank you for the 5. Anyone else happy that we've not seen any ignore invulnerable save rules as of yet? Also, it hasn't said demonic invulnerability for demon saves, has it? No, well, we'll get to that in just a moment. We haven't seen any ignore invulnerable saves. I think invulnerable saves are going back to being purely, like, actually invulnerable again, which is, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. You're going to love the new demon stuff. Talk about rules that are balanced but super fluffy at the same time. This sounds cool. I'm excited. Megan, thank you for the 1. I need to update my... Oh, I'll do it in a minute. Thank you so much, Meg. You're a hero. I love you. Right, anyway. Are you ready for more Liam reading Games Workshop's words? Warhammer 40k faction focus Chaos Demons. This is one that I'm quite interested about. Demons have been very strong. Will you be streaming on launch day? 100% I will, yes. Demons have been very strong, right? And some of it's been a bit janky. Lots of ignore invulnerable stuff. Lots of demonic invulnerability I wasn't a fan of. I did like it, but I didn't like it. So I liked the way they were trying to differentiate between a demon and a standard mortal being. but it was a bit janky and it created feels bad since each flamers were a thing, right? So anyway, Chaos Demons, the legions of the dark gods. Some would be warlords, borrow the powers of the warp for their own ends, but true greatness is reserved for those who belong wholly to the Emperor and Squall. The Chaos Demons that inhabit the hellish realms of the Immaterium are a force unlike any mortal army, rending their very fabric of reality as they assail the galaxy in a wanton carnival of corruption and slaughter. Demons, they look cool, right? Chaos Demons are an aggressive faction who really come into their own in the maelstrom of close combat. Though they're by no means helpless at range, every one of their units sports an invulnerable save, meaning they have little to fear from the enemy's armor-bursting weapons, and an army-wide deep strike means that they can surge from warp portals to engage their prey before a shot has been even fired. So, it doesn't say demonic invulnerability, much like James said, right, which is cool. However, if they've removed all rules that ignore invulnerable saves, if they remove all of those rules, it's basically demonic invulnerability anyway, right? It's kind of the same. Oh, I haven't screen shared. Thank you. Thank you, team. It's because I went back to normal, didn't I? You're all heroes. You're all nice to me. It's just reading right now anyway, okay? So, fine. Cool German dude, thank you for the one. Leaks Fix, thank you for the one. Look at you beautiful people. Remind me I've got to add 3. Got to add 3, right?
3D print angry Liam heads to use as Space Wolves and Wolf and Sergeants.
What is this thing going on at the moment where everyone says I'm angry all the time? It's not true. It's not true, right? It's not true. Anyway, we do have... I think we've got the screen. I'm just waiting for it. It has come up. Yeah, cool. Okay, right. So, it does seem that with demonic invulnerability being gone, but rules saying they ignore invulnerable saves being gone, potentially, we don't know for definite, it would seem that demonic invulnerability is the same, kind of, right? Makes sense. Okay, beautiful, right. Faction rules. The very presence of a demonic legion is enough to tear reality at the seams, casting a dreadpool across the battlefield. The Shadow of Chaos invigorates Chaos... I like this, by the way. The Shadow of Chaos invigorates Chaos Demons and enfeebles their foes, advancing even further as these Neverborn Nightmares capture more objectives and infuse the battlefield itself with otherworldly madness. This is the army rule. I like this, by the way, right? The Shadow of Chaos. If your army faction is Legiones Demonica, certain areas of the battlefield are considered to be within your army's Shadow of Chaos, as follows. Now, I started to read this and I got worried, right? Because I was like, is this going to get confusing? And then I read it. Your deployment zone is always within your army's Shadow of Chaos. Cool. At the start of any phase, if you control at least half of the objective markers within No Man's Land, until the end of that phase, No Man's Land is within your army's Shadow of Chaos. So if there's 2 objectives in No Man's Land and you hold one of them, the whole of No Man's Land is within your armies of chaos, right? Because it is if you control at least half of the objective markers. Cool. At the start of any phase, if you control at least half of the objective markers within your opponent's deployment zone, until the end of that phase, your opponent's deployment zone is within your army's Shadow of Chaos. Very, very simple. What's interesting here as well is it says if you control at least half of the objective markers within your opponent's deployment zone. Now, typically, what we've seen with 9th edition is you only ever have one objective marker in each deployment zone. Is this indicative that there could be situations where you have more objective markers than one in your opponent's deployment zone? Very interesting. Demonic Manifestation. While a Legiones Demonica unit from your army is within your army's Shadow of Chaos, each time that unit takes a Battle Shock test, add 1 to that test, and if the test is passed, one model in that unit regains up to D3 lost wounds. If that unit is a battle line unit and that test is passed, up to D3 destroyed models can be returned to that unit instead. It's kind of almost Necron reanimation, but it's demonic. It's demonic manifestation. It's demons coming back. It used to be a thing that you could do with banners and stuff. I'm a big fan of that one. I like that one. That's going to make them a little bit more durable without having stupid invulnerable saves everywhere. Demonic Terror. While an enemy unit is within your army's Shadow of Chaos, each time that unit takes a Battle Shock test, subtract 1 from this test, and if that test is failed, that enemy unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. That seems a bit strong. Narrative as hell, and I love it, but it seems a bit strong. Seems a bit strong, that one, right? A canny Chaos Demons player who leaps on key objectives can turn whole swathes of the battlefield into dangerous no-go zones for their opponent, whether that's No Man's Land, the space between deployment zones, or even their own territory. As if it weren't bad enough for mortals to have their resolve sapped and their foes empowered, demons who use a demonic incursion detachment can open their warp rifts even closer to the enemy than usual. So this is a detachment rule, so you have to pick the demonic incursion detachment, and I'm assuming this is the one we're going to get out of the box because we get 1 for every faction. Each time a Legiones Demonica unit from your army is set up on the battlefield using the Deep Strike ability, if it is set up wholly within your army Shadow of Chaos, it can be set up anywhere that is more than 6 inches horizontally away from all enemy models instead of more than 9. Currently, the only way you can do that is by having them Deep Strike within 6 inches of a friendly Chaos Demons character that has a specific Warp Locus ability. Like, this is... But it's just as long as it's in the Shadow of Chaos set realm. So you still have to set up for it, right? You still have to hold more than half of the objectives in the zone that you want to do this in, but then you don't have to land within 6 inches of the character. You can just Deep Strike closer. This seems very strong, but also quite narrative. What really interests me is how much of your force can you put in Deep Strike Reserve? Because I feel like if you can put 50% of your force in Deep Strike Reserve, this is incredibly strong. Incredibly strong. But if you can put 25% of your force in Deep Strike Reserve, it's not that bad. It's okay, right? So I think then it's pretty balanced. So this will be very interesting to see how much they let you put in Deep Strike Reserve. It's common for demons to be conjured forth by mortal followers of the Dark Gods, especially when a warband of Chaos Space Marines pledges allegiance to a particular patron. The Demonic Pact rule allows a certain number of demons to join Chaos armies based on the size of that battle being fought, though they won't bring the Shadow of Chaos with them as your army faction isn't Chaos Demons. Demonic Pact. If every model from your army has the Chaos keyword, you can include a Legiones Demonica unit in your army, even if they do not have the faction keyword you selected at the select army faction step. The combined points cost of such units you can include depends upon your battle size, as shown below. Incursion 250, Strike Force 500, Onslaught 750 points. So 25% essentially. None of these models can be a Warlord and they cannot be given enhancements. It then basically says World Eaters is Khorne, Thousand Suns is Tzeentch, Death Guard is Nurgle, and if your Warlord is Lucius the Eternal, this is because Slaanesh don't have their book, but he is still in the Chaos Space Marine Codex, I assume. You can include Slaanesh League and do it. I mean, that makes sense, right? That's not a restriction is new to us. That's pretty standard. Unit Spotlight. Baying hordes of lesser warp spawn are commanded by greater demons, giant monstrosities who ripple with the essence of a particular ruinous power. Each is a profane reflection of their progenitors' proclivities. The Keeper of Secrets, for instance, wheels and whirls with Slaanesh's grace, weaving through enemy attacks and striking with quicksilver speed. 14-inch move, toughness 10 is pretty tasty. Save 5+, wounds 18, leadership 6+, objective control of 5. I like it, I'm a fan. Living Whip is an assault weapon. Seems decent, 6 attacks, nice. And then we've got these Witchfires, right? So we've got a standard Witchfire and a focused Witchfire. Standard Witchfire, 6 attacks, hitting on 2, strength 6, -2, 1 damage, but devastating wounds. So 6s to wounds, do them as mortal wounds instead of standard damage. Or you can power it up, 9 attacks, you gain 3 more attacks, you keep the same strength, the same AP, but you gain hazardous, which I can assume, because I think we've seen this on Plasma, is going to be something where you take mortal wounds on certain rolls of something. Who knows? Right, I don't know if they've actually shown hazardous off. I haven't seen it. Ritual Knife is extra attacks, 3 attacks, 2, 6, 2, 2. Okay. Snapping Claws is interesting with devastating wounds and extra. So strength 6 -2, 3 damage. But if you roll a 6 to wound, it does a flat 3 mortal wounds instead. That's tasty. And then the Wit Stealer Sword, again, strength 8 -2, 3 damage. This is a nice range of melee weapons here. Pay attention to these extra attacks. It's explained later in the article, right? Deadly Demise D-Strix, so this thing actually does blow up, essentially. While a friendly Slaanesh Legiones Demonica unit is within 6 inches, improve the armor penetration of melee weapons by 1. Super tasty. Each time attack targets, considering how rare AP is now, that's going to be really important. Each time ranged attack targets this model, subtract 1 from the hit roll. That's nice. The Bearer has the Feel No Pain 5+ ability. Very nice. 1 to 6 wounds, it loses 1, and it's got an invulnerable save of 4+. Again, no demonic invulnerable save, just invulnerable save. Monster character Psycho Chaos Demon Slaanesh, Keeper of Secrets. Demon's a creature of primeval instinct, a bundle of mad impulses wrapped in a phasmal of matter, but those who once were mortal may retain an identity and ambitions of their own. Among these powerful figures, one name stands out above all others as a schemer and manipulator par excellence. Be'lakor, the Dark Master, first of the Demon Princes. So this guy was mental, right? Mental on in 9th edition. 12-inch move, so slower than the Keeper's. Toughness 10 as well. Save 4+. Save was the Keeper. 5+, okay. Wounds 18, leadership 6, objective control 5. So 18 wounds instead of... Oh, it's still 18 wounds. So he's on par with the Keeper, really. He also has 2 Witchfires. His are slightly different, okay? So he does gain 3 extra attacks, but he goes up a strength and an AP rather than staying on the same strength and AP and gaining attacks, which is quite nice. Still has devastating wounds, but also has ignores cover, which is nice. So that AP is better than it looks because it ignores cover. We then go down to the melee weapons, right? You pick one of these, a sweep or a strike. The sweep has lethal hits. 6 is to hit, auto wound. Quite tasty. 6 attacks. Weapon skill 2+, strength 14, AP -4, D6 +1 damage. You'll notice no ignore invulns, which he had before. Which is why I think these invulnerable saves they're showcasing are going to be more important than they ever were before, because it doesn't look like there's any ignoring invuln stuff out there, right? He then has Deadly Demise D6, Deep Strike and Stealth. Keyword there, nice. The Shadow of Chaos is his faction, as we've seen already. The area of the battlefield within 6 inches of this model is considered to be within your army Shadow of Chaos. I like that as an aura. That's a cool aura. So they said they're reducing auras, right? They said they're bringing them down. That's a very cool narrative aura. I'm a big fan of that one. Big fan of that one. Shadow Form. At the start of each battle round, select one Shadow Form ability, see left. Until the end of the battle round, this model has that ability. So what are they? We've got Wreathed in Shadow. While a Legionis demonic unit is within 6 inches of this model, that unit can only be targeted by a range attack if the attacking model is within 18 inches. Holy shit. Notice it doesn't say wholly within, it's just within. If a Legionis demonic unit is within 6 inches of this model. Wow. So if I put a Bloodthirster towing within 6 inches of Be'lakor, you can't target me unless you're within 18 inches. That seems incredible. That for me comes across as very powerful, but I like it. Pool of Despair. Interesting, these are aura psychic as well. That keyword there popping up on an aura is interesting. And the only reason why I think that's interesting is because I'm wondering now how that might interact with things like Sisters of Silence, right? So, haven't seen the stealth USR before. Yeah, I didn't think we had. In the Battle Shock step of your opponent's command phase, if an enemy unit is below its starting strength is within 6 inches of this model, that unit must take a Battle Shock test. So not below half strength, just below starting strength. So the purpose of this ability, if a unit has a starting strength of 1, it is considered to be below its starting strength if it's taken 1 or more wounds. So if a wounded model or any unit that's taken any casualties is within range of Be'lakor, you take a Battle Shock. Whether you're below half strength or not, you take a Battle Shock, right? Also affects Be'lakor. Yeah, you're going to have this on all the time because it means he can't be targeted within 18 inches as well, right? Honestly. Anyway, Shadow Lord, Aura Psychic. While a friendly Legionis demonic unit is within 6 inches of the model, you can re-roll Battle Shock and leadership tests taken for that unit. It doesn't sound amazing, but when you remember that past Battle Shock tests give you models back or give you wounds back, that's also quite strong. I don't know if there's just an easy pick here. Like, they're all pretty strong. I feel like the Wreathed in Shadows is your turn 1 pick every single time, and possibly even turn 2. I feel like Shadow Lord is also a pretty common pick later in the game when you want to bring models back or heal up certain units. Pool of Despair feels like the worst of the 3 to me, but it's still quite strong. Forcing Battle Shock tests on a unit that's lost 1 wound, or a unit that's lost 1 model, or a model that's lost 1 wound, is very strong, considering that if they fail, they go to OC 0, right? That's really good. I like that. So great is Be'lakor's power that he strides the battlefield wrapped in a cloak of shadow, corrupting all who come near and casting a thick shroud of darkness across those demons that call him master. When he closes with his foe, the Blade of Shadows makes quick work of man and machine alike, sweeping entire squads aside or slicing tanks in half with ease. It's just really good. Like, his data sheet's good without it. But you know what's interesting is I'm looking at this and I don't feel like it's mental. Like, I don't feel like it's too good. I feel like it's actually okay, right? Weapon Spotlight. Units normally have to pick just one. Okay, remember when I said to you, remember when I showed you the Keeper of Secrets had extra hits on that weapon?
Cover rules have a new keyword, towering. Keeper doesn't have it on the sheet. Given what they've told us, that means the Keeper benefits from some cover.
That's interesting as well. But how much benefit's that going to be? And I only ask you because the Keeper's armor save is 5+. So the cover save gives him to 4+. His invulnerable save's 4+. So it is interesting. I think you're right, Zin. 25, I think that he will benefit from cover. But it looks like it won't take it past his invulnerable save. So, unless there's other benefits from cover. Interesting. Anyway. So, extra attacks is a thing. Like, remember I said when we looked at the Keepers, we had extra attacks here, and we had extra attacks here, which I don't think we've seen yet. At least I'm pretty sure I hadn't seen it yet. Then there's this part, right? Units normally have to pick just one of their melee weapons to fight with. So you saw Gullyman with the Emperor's Sword and the Hand of Dominion. You pick one of them to fight with, right? In a given turn. But many warriors go to war with powerful steeds, vicious pets, or weaponized cybernetics. The extra attacks weapon ability allows these to make extra attacks. It's particularly common among Chaos Demons, who are absolutely festooned with tails, claws, bile blades, and other prehensile nastiness, okay? So the Bile Blade also has extra attacks and lethal hits, 6s to wound or 6s to hit or to win. I'm saying this, by the way, if every single time I read out lethal hits or read out devastating wounds or whatever, right? Then you, if every single time I read these things out and I tell you what the rule is, then by the time it comes, you're going to know the rules anyway, right? You'll benefit from obscuring. Oh, you're assuming, Pip, that obscuring still exists within 10th edition. Obscuring could be gone. Just saying. So 3 attacks, extra attacks. So whatever he normally attacks with, he'll get these as well. Weapon skill 2+, strength 6, AP -2, 2 damage. Extra attacks. Weapons with extra attacks in their profile are known as extra attack weapons. Each time the bearer of such a weapon fights, it can make attacks with that weapon in addition to the one it chooses to fight with. The number of attacks made with an extra attacks weapon cannot be modified by other rules. So you can't increase this number here or decrease that number there, right? It cannot be modified by other rules. The number of attacks cannot be modified by the rules, right? Extra attacks is by no means limited to Chaos Demons. From cavalry to carnifexes, the rule shows up on a wide variety of data sheets from other factions. That's cool. It's like Malefic right now, right? So, when a wielder or demonic power does put their full strength behind their signature weapons, little in the mortal universe can stand before them. Scarbrand is notorious for the sheer number of heads he's cleaved from unwilling donors, right? In no small part thanks to the destructive might of his creatively named axes Slaughter and Carnage. Slaughter and Carnage, strike, sweep, 8 attacks on strike, weapon skill 2+, strength 16, -4, 6 damage. Flat 6 damage is pretty tasty. And a sweep of 16 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 8, -1, 2 damage is pretty tasty. Like, he's going to cleave Space Marines, but again, I say he's going to cleave Space Marines because we found something that's 8, right, strength 8, which is 2s to wound Space Marines, damage 2, which means it kills a Space Marine, but only -1. Okay. Jolly says, does this mean the Keeper is attacking with all 3 weapons? Yeah, he is, yeah. So like 13 attacks in total, whatever it was, 14, 13, something like that. Okay, obscuring is mentioned in terrain rules, just isn't called obscuring. Okay, interesting. We skimmed the terrain rules, I think, on the Liam and Joe show, so I've not digested them properly. I'll wait till I get my hands on the book, but that's interesting then. If obscuring is a thing, then and still exists, then he'll get that, which is really nice for him, actually. Several of this, that's actually quite powerful for demons in general. I assume Be'lakor hasn't got towering either. Be'lakor, Fly, Epic Hero, Chaos Demon, Be'lakor. Yeah, so he hasn't got towering. So it's not locked to wounds anymore, it would seem. Okay. Right, cool. Like it. So Slaughter and Carnage look tasty. Again, no sign of ignoring invulnerable saves, which I'm pro, by the way. I'm positive for that. Like, that's good, okay? Several of the stratagems granted by the Demonic Incursion detachment interact further with the Shadow of the Chaos, surging in strength as real space wears thin. An impatient demon general can even create localized squalls of warp gloom on objectives they control, ensuring the battlefield remains under their influence even as they hunt for further play. So pick a demon unit from your army that's within range of an objective marker. It's said to be corrupted and remains under your control even if you have no models within range of it until your opponent controls it at the start or end of any turn again. In addition, while an objective marker is corrupted and under your control, the area of the battlefield within 6 inches of that objective marker is considered to be within your army Shadow of Chaos. Narratively cool. Interesting as well. You can give it to a Legion Demonica or a Legionis Demonica unit, right? So you can essentially have a Bloodthirster on an objective and make that objective sticky. It doesn't have to be a battle line unit or something akin to what we've seen previously from Cadian shock troops. So any Legionis Demonica, I fucking know these words, Legionis Demonica unit on an objective, you can make that objective sticky and you get an additional Shadow of Chaos area. So if an enemy unit moves within range of it to try and take it back, potentially they could suffer the negatives of being in that aura, i.e. the -1 to their battle shock, etc., which is quite, and then suffering D3 mortal wounds. So really nice stratagem for 1 CP, okay? Corrupt real space is a powerful strategic tool for defending your turf, as it will weaken the morale of any enemy who gets within range of that objective, and a failed battle shock test will prevent them from retaking it at all. An objective is only captured when the total objective control of nearby models exceeds that of their opponent, so So a unit with an OC of 0 will effectively tie even when faced with a complete lack of challenges. OC 0 doesn't hold an objective because your objective control is 0. So it's not like OC minimum 1, it's OC 0. You don't hold it. So if you are on an objective and you fail a battle shock test and you go to OC 0, if we still score objectives at the end of the command phase, you don't count as holding that objective. Interesting. That's how I interpret it anyway. Robin from the Warhammer Design Studio is given slowdown on the cackling denizens of the warp. When one faces an army of Chaos Demons, they are facing the warp itself. For where they fight, the boundaries between real space and the immaterium are thin. That's the intent behind that army rule. The idea being that as the Chaos Demons fight, they spread the warp itself over the battlefield, and while such a thing is beneficial to demons, it's literal hellscape to mortals. Chaos Demon armies are predominantly melee focused, and with every unit being able to deep strike, it's no easy task for the foe to keep themselves safe. This is especially true thanks to Demonic Incursion Detachment, Warp Strike, which enables demons to claw their way out of the very immaterium to slaughter any who venture into your territory. There we go. That is the Demons rules. How many do I have to add? It's still just 3, right? Yeah, cool. Okay, perfect. Right. Up to 5, 6, 7. Done. So that's Demon rules. So same question, team. Considering what we've just read, what do we think? Good, bad, ugly? Even at strength 16, he's really only good at hitting troops, right? Like all tanks are T10 minimum. 3+ isn't bad, but still. Yeah, but I feel like, so I don't disagree with you, Johnny, right? But I feel like in the current edition, it's far, far, far too hard to get to a point where you just wound a tank on a 2+. Right? I mean, I feel like that's far too common right now. I don't feel like it should be as common as it is. I don't feel like it should be as easy for someone to rock up to a Predator and hit it with something that just wounds on a 2+. Now, I'm aware that some of these things that can do this are big demons, but it just meant that vehicles evaporated. We've had a problem for so long that vehicles just evaporate all the time. They all just go, right? And now I feel like with the changes in the rules, there's no ignoring invuns. Okay, there's no ignoring feel no pains that we've been shown so far, and I have to stress this, people. This is what we've been shown so far, right? So I feel like I'm okay with a tank not being able to commonly be wounded on a 2+ from a sword. Like, I feel like that's okay, and I'm not against it, right? And if we actually look at Scar Brander with his big slaughter and carnage, am I okay with a Bloodthirster at strength 16 not wounding a tank on a 2+? A Bloodthirster of Scarbrand's, heritage. I'm okay with it. It doesn't, like, I don't think that's, because if it does go through, he's still got 8 attacks, right? It's AP4, so it's going to ignore most things armor, and he's still doing flat 6 damage a time. I'm okay with it being strength 16, so the big heavy tanks, he doesn't just wound them on 2s. Because at the moment, people like Scarbrand walk up to any big tough tank and just toss them across the battlefield without any problems whatsoever. I have no problems walking Scarbrand up to most vehicles currently in 9th edition, just going, yep, that's dead, yep, that's dead, yep, that's dead. Like, I feel like this is better. Chris, thank you for the heart. You're a hero. Love you. So I'm actually pretty comfortable with these monsters struggling to wound vehicles on 2+. It's the same if you look at the Shadow Sword, right? And I know the Shadow Sword people go, strength 24, that's mad. So yes, a Shadow Sword with an anti-Titan weapon, shoots at a standard tank or shoots at the Keeper of Secrets, it wounds it on a 2+. But it's an anti-Titan weapon shooting at a greater demon. The Monolith is toughness 14, right? The Baneblade is toughness 13. I think we could probably safely assume that Imperial Knights are going to be, say, toughness 13 or 14. I think that's a safe assumption. I'd be very surprised if they're toughness 12, right? I'd be very surprised. So, assuming that, and I'm assuming that they're going to be toughness 13 or 14, the Shadow Sword strength 24 still only wounds them on a 3+. So the addition does. People are looking at this 12 damage, and if you start applying some kind of logic and maths to it, I feel like it is less lethal. I feel like they have done a good job of toning down the lethality. AP is down across the board. I think that's positive, right? I think tanks are actually going to have a place again. And there's a lot of people that seem very, 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 very keen not very keen, very convinced, sorry, that it's going to be tank meta and everything's going to be tank all the time. I don't think that's going to be the case, actually. I really don't. I can't see that being a problem currently. And if it is, just spam Void Dragons. Fingers crossed for the Great Axe of Corn being flat 6 damage too. Nah, see, I'd like that less than Slaughter and Carnage. Not by much, but less. I want Slaughter and Carnage to be better. Tyler, thank you for the 5. I'm not even a demon player, just a World Eater player, but I really like that. Well, now as a World Eater player, you could take 25% of your army as Corn Demons if you want. It's cool, right? Wait on Eldar preview. Yeah, I am. It's Sisters tomorrow, isn't it? Is it Sisters tomorrow? I'm sure it tells us it's Sisters tomorrow. Yeah, Adeptus Sororitas is next up. So I say tomorrow, it just says next up. Doesn't mean it'll be tomorrow. Was maybe expecting Battle Cannon to be AP2. Which is AP1. Yeah, the AP... Do you know what? The AP1 on a Battle Cannon does seem low. It does. But if you look at the Baneblade, the Demolisher is AP3. And the Baneblade Cannon is AP2. So they've had to kind of differentiate, I guess. I feel that's probably what they've done. Right? Might need to slip out my Black Legion from the hole they are nestled in. I think, wow. The Chaos stuff I'm really excited for. Right? I feel like that's really narrative and really cool. So I like it. I can't wait to see individual data sheets. It'll be tomorrow, says Reckley. Oh yeah. I really want to get my hands on the whole rule set right now. Because I feel like there's too much the world is burning stuff on things like Facebook. Like there's too much everything's dreadful and the rules are flat terrible and everything's terrible compared to now and everything's rubbish compared to like there's far too much of that on interwebs right now, especially like I'm in a lot of Facebook groups because it's interesting to read people's thoughts and stuff. I've kind of stopped looking at the moment because it's just people just being unreasonable. Every time a faction focus drops, someone in their faction groups goes, wow, it's fucking flat ruined it now. Shut up. You haven't seen every other faction. You haven't got the core rules in hand. You don't know how all these things interact. You cannot make a statement. Like I can sit here and say Demons and Guard both look really good, but I'm actually predominantly focusing on the narrative representation that their rules are kind of giving me. And I feel like so far, on the whole, narratively, they're nailing it. The only people that I feel like may have some justified complaints is perhaps Necron players, because I've seen some people that have math hammered things like reanimation protocols and the durability change between 9th and 10th. And I get it. But I appreciate the simplified nature of what reanimation protocols does now. A lot of people compared it to where reanimation was in 8th, and the fact that it was flat useless. And I played Necrons in 8th, so I understand. So I kind of maybe get that moan, but on the whole, like it's just madness to think that a person's going to make a complete judgment based on a stratagem, 1 to 2 data sheets, 1 to 2 weapon profiles, a detachment rule, and an army rule. That's all you're getting, and people making real sweeping statements about how bad this is compared to. Now, personally, I can't say that these rules are good or bad. So without context, it's impossible. I can say that it looks like it could be good, but we don't know if it's actually good until we know how the whole edition actually plays, nor until we know what every other army does and how those matchups happen. So you just can't make a judgment. So every time you see someone on Facebook whinging about their rules, just write cunt underneath. Just do that. It just grips me. It's just fucking pack it in like you don't know what's coming. And your army could be stronger. Like Eldar could be stronger again, and it could be your army. It doesn't make sense to me, people. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. Right? I don't understand it. Dark Angels have index cards at launch. Probably, yeah. With a specific rule to allow demons in CSM army, do you think there will be something to allow Guard and Space Marine mixing? I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure if I want it to happen though. Haters gonna hate, says John. Yeah, I agree. Darius, do you think we will get Dark Angels rules at launch or when Codex drops? You'll get Dark Angels rules at launch, I reckon. I think Dark Angels, Blood Angels, Black Templars, Space Wolves, Grey Knights will all have separate rules, and you'll have generic Space Marines. Does that cover all of them? I think that covers all of them. Oh, and Death Watch, obviously, would be separate too. This edition seems a lot more lore driven, which is nice. I am really behind it. Like, and I think they're capturing rules that are complex enough to give you tactical decision making on the tabletop, but simple enough that it's not.
Thus far, all of the previews seem pretty rad. Even the NIDs with the potentially weaker army rule have a fantastic detachment rule. I'm just excited to play, and new army rules have made me buy more LOL.
I mean, that's entirely what they want you to do, to be fair. But yes, I agree with you, mate, right? I 100% agree with you. I do agree with the fact that I think they're making more narrative-based decisions. And like I said, they're more rules without being overly complex and loads of layers that you can just remember, and you can believe that these rules are going to be able to be on 2, 3, 4-page spreads, whatever they said. I think they ever said 2 2-page spreads or a 2-page spread. I can't remember. So let's say worst case scenario, 2 2-page spreads, 4 pages.
Can't wait for 10th edition and new Black Templar rules.
Oh, I'm excited for Black Templars as well. So let's say worst case 4 pages, 2 2-page spreads, because I feel like that might be what they said. I can't remember off the top of my head. Like, the fact that everything you need, including enhancements, etc., will be on those 4 pages is, like, that's going to be amazing. And yet, whilst bringing it right down to 4 pages of rules for your whole army, we're still in a place where I feel like they're really capturing lots of narrative flavour. Narratively, from what we've just read, like I said, there's one swing and miss for me. And that swing and miss is what a Voxcaster does, personally. But that's not a bad rule. I just think it's a swing and a miss for a narrative implementation of a thing that exists. Voxcasters, for the longest time, have affected the range of orders. So I don't even think it would have been too complex to continue to have them affect the range of orders. Maybe it's a balance thing. Maybe that's why they've done it. But that's the only thing that I think has not quite been on the money for narrative rules at the moment. Sorry, I'm drinking loads of water or juice, I should say, because of my little run today. I'm struggling a bit right now. I think it didn't take me long to be literally breathing through my arsehole. I was trying to run 3.78 miles, I think it was. I'm not sure. I bought a Hellbrute today because you never know. Well, if anything looks good, buy it for Christ's sake, because you know what their stock issues are like, right? They've said a 2-page spread repeatedly, have they? Okay, love a good 2-page spread. Don't we all? They're saving all the rerolls for Tau, probably. Yeah, well, they need to keep those Tau players absolutely and utterly hated, right? Hopefully this will make people play more narrative to tell a story rather than to crush your opponent. Well, Daryl, actually you make an interesting point, Mucker, because I do think they're making the right move. I do think the changes they're making are very positive. I do think they're coming away from overly complex layers upon layers upon layers of rules, which in turn is going to just flat reduce gotcha moments or complications or people that get completely lost. Or I know people that have had an army they haven't wanted to play their own army because they couldn't fully understand how they needed to make it properly sing, right? So I get what they're doing, and I think it's the right move. However, I will say one thing. In my opinion, typically what can ruin... this is going to be very controversial, and some people are going to fucking hate me for this. Typically, what can ruin an edition of the game is the players. If players didn't abuse rules, abuse loopholes, it's less of a problem. I'm not saying it's not a problem. The rules shouldn't allow those things to happen in the first place.
But Liam, by applying an entirely 9th-based math hammer metric to a 10th rule I have no context for, I can definitively tell you, insert faction here, is broken/crap. Absolute knobbers. Absolute knobbers is the greatest insult I've read on a super chat for a while, Ads. Thank you so much for the 10, man. You're a hero. I mean, exactly. Right? Exactly. People... So an argument I've seen in my own comment section on YouTube... an argument I've seen is about the durability of warriors, okay, mathematically. The problem they have is they've picked a unit, that has been showcased to a point, but they don't have all the army rules, all the faction rules, all the character rules, etc., to actually really dial in the difference right now. And this is the thing, like, often with these things, Math Hammer's a thing, right? And Math Hammer
exists, and Mathhammer's existed for ages, and you can look at this unit here and say mathematically this unit should kill that tank. Right? Easy enough. You should do that. Okay. Christ. So you can say that, right? You can say that. However, until you get on the tabletop with everything else that's going on and you roll dice, you don't know, do you? So you can look at intercessors shooting in Necron Warriors, but when you go to tabletop, those intercessors might not want to shoot those Necron Warriors. They might want to shoot the Scarabs, or they might want to shoot the Immortals, right? Or the Necron Warriors might strip the intercessors down so quickly they don't get a chance to. There's so many. You can look at things in a vacuum, and you can math hammer, and you should say mathematically, Unit A kills Unit B with this many shots, blah blah blah. But that's in a vacuum, and 40k just doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is a tabletop game that uses randomized d6. So I think those people frustrate the shit out of me. And the other thing as well is, what a way to strip the fucking fun out of a game. Is there anything worse than going, well, I think you'll find mathematically, oh my, fuck off. Right? Don't just play the game, for Christ's sake. You can look at it and go, oh, it's high strength, big AP, lots of damage. It's probably a tank weapon, or it's multiple shots, low AP, single damage. It's probably an anti-infantry weapon, right? Cool. You can do that. That's a form of math hammer. By looking at it, you're kind of going, well, that's high strength, and I'm shooting at this toughness, so it's going to be pretty good at killing these things. Those things are all great. That's fine. I encourage people to do that. It's not a problem, right? Okay, perfect. But to go mathematically, I don't know. It's a game, people, and this is what brings me back to the fact that I think it's the players that make the game the least fun sometimes, and it's the players that break things. One of the contributing factors to the amount of work GW had to do in 9th edition in the balanced data slate is because players break things. Oh. A Flamer of Tzeentch is very good with its D6 plus 3 auto-hitting AP minus 3 Flamer shots. I'm going to run 18. Oh, the Void Weaver seems really good when the Harlequin's Codex comes out. I'm going to buy 9. If people didn't do that, it would be less of a problem. But some people care, unfortunately, Daryl, going back to your point, some people care far more about winning than they do about the narrative or the fun or the experience. They just care about winning. And if their experience... If what they do is they spam the strongest unit 3 times, Joe, so that they just win at their opponent's enjoyment expense, they don't care. They don't care. They're happy with that. Right? That's it. We put a lot of emphasis at our GTs on the most sporting, the person who gets the most favourite game votes from other players, because I want people to be really conscious of the fact that when you go to an event or a tournament or any tabletop, when you walk up to a table at your local gaming store and you play a player you've never met before, you are semi-responsible for that individual having a good time. They're also semi-responsible. They have to turn up with the right attitude themselves. Okay, you can't have a player who loses a roll off to see who goes first and goes, oh fuck this, I'm going to lose then. Like that's on them at that point. Don't get me wrong, and that's then not on you to improve their experience. But you are 50% responsible for their experience at the tabletop, right? I wish people were more conscious of how they impact somebody else's playing experience in their hobby, which is for their downtime and their fun. I just wish people were more. And let's be honest, the majority of the community, especially within things like the Great Hall, the majority of our community are actually pretty good at that, right? We, again, at the GTs I run, most people get at least one favourite game vote, if not more. In fact, we see lots of favourite game votes for lots of people. We often have people tied for first place. It's really positive to see. That's very, very good. On an occasion, you'll get a player who won't get a single favourite game vote. I think to myself, why? And that's because you're one of them win at all costs type of players, right? Anyway, right. Turd saying, Jimmy, thank you for the 2. If Scarbrand looks like this, imagine Angron. I'm very excited. I also saw Pip. From the narrative argument is that when the Voxcaster is well used, it doesn't take any resources from commanding the army above the normal means, aka less no command point. I mean, I think you could. I think you're 100% right, Pip. I think you absolutely could apply narrative to it. So I'm not against it having, like, I'm not saying it doesn't have any narrative kind of standing with the current rules. I get it. I agree with you. I think you're right. I just feel like the increased order range is a better narrative for it, right? Why are you describing Starius as parentheses. Just don't be a bellend, 100%. Coming up next season on Warhammer Plus, Fun Watch. I mean, I don't know if you've seen any Warhammer Plus stuff. I don't know if they know what the F part of that word means. Stratosterics, quite honestly. ADR, thank you for the 5. Other fave is certain channels, I won't name names, putting out 10th bat reps based on what Warcom has shown with 9th points, also knobbers. Really? Are people doing that? Please tell us. Please tell us who it is, ads. I want to know. Who's done that already? Ethereals will be making the most of their Pure Gym membership now Farsight is back. Rules seem good. I continue to worry about supply on release. I'm very concerned about supply on release. I'm only hoping that all of the supply issues we've experienced recently is because they're stocking those boxes up and they've diverted a significant amount of resources to that, right? That's my hope. Sister Marcy, welcome to the channel as a sculptor. You hero puts us on 17 for the night. It's quiet tonight, isn't it? Look, if you all prefer Joe, just say. We'll just stream Joe in his pants. We can do that, right? And now we have Gambits, extra fun late games. The mission rules look really good, right, though? Really, really good. I want to crush my enemies with my fun pew-pew, says Wee Man. Perfect, right? I like the Gambit idea, says Elijah. I like the Gambit idea as well. I want to just go balls to the wall and risk it for the fun. Absolutely. The two guys who did their Horror Heresy battle report were pretty good. I don't know what we're talking about. Don't knock it. I hear World Eaters have a 100% fun rate. I mean, at times my opponent in the 9th edition, they haven't had a 100% fun rate. So I typically always bought Angron because it's just more fun, right? Demons do a Gambit manifest in the corner and hang out and roll those dice for a win. Clever gits. I mean, they're demons, right? They're sneaky. 40k in 40 seconds was doing some of their videos with 10th data sheets, but that hardly counts. I've not seen any of it, to be honest with you. I prefer Joe, says Carl. Thanks, mate. Joe painting his pants streams are an option. I mean, it's not on this website.
I math hammered everything and the calculator told me to stop being a sad tosser already.
Did it actually type it out for you, Kai, did it? James, thank you for the 5. Community here is great. Definitely no gamey fucks at all, apart from you. If the new edition means we see more varied and fluffy armies, then that's a win. Oh, 100%. 100%. You and Joe planning a sleepover party for 10th edition datasheet drops. 100% we are, yeah, absolutely. In our pants, Pip, of course, right? Have you seen the Combat Patrol articles? No, I haven't. Well, maybe. I don't think I have, actually. I don't know what we're going to do or how we're going to do it at the moment when 10th comes out, whenever that might be. But I would like, if we assume a Saturday 10 a.m. preview, because that's what, a 10 a.m. pre-order, sorry, which is that's what we normally get. If we assume that, we'll be live at Saturday at 10 a.m. with whatever we're allowed to show off. We'll see. We'll see, right? Oh, my throat, honestly. Sorry, I was replying to you about Warhammer Plus. Oh, right, okay. I get it. Well, let's go back to your comment now, because I can say it, read it in context. Two guys who did the horror story battle. Okay, right, cool. Okay, that's good. I tried to do my party to save because my sister gets married next weekend. You absolutely need to save for that, honestly. You have to. But thank you so much to everyone who donated. And thank you, Sister Marcy, for becoming a member as well. If you're not already in Discord, exclamation mark Discord, come and hang out with us. Mordy and Glory, what about him? He's in a battle report already with what? Why? Why would you do that? Combat Patrol article shows off the new Captain datasheet for Combat Patrol and regular play. Oh, yeah, that's cool. How much for the OnlyFans account for Joe Link? £700 a month. As an experiment, put Joe on a talking head stream and see how he does. Oh, God, no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Never going to happen. You get 500 members in a stream, I might let you do it. I've heard that Joe is a national treasure. He is a national treasure who we should protect at all costs. That's a fact. Hey, Bridger, how you doing? My local club is going to hire out the rooms it normally hires out for an extra 6 hours on 10th release day. That's good. Do it. We're going to do some learn to play stuff. I don't know how we're going to do that yet, but we're going to do some learn to play stuff. Regarding channels and 10th, it rhymes with Scordian Flory. Why? I don't understand. How can you... Like, there's nothing you can do. You can't stream a 40k game with 10th edition rules right now. if you're putting out... Well, I'm going on Google now. Fuck this. I'm going to go have a look now. I'm on a mission now, team. Because I have a theory. Oh, hang on. No, do I listen to that nonsense? New 10th edition 40k battle report. It's fucking clickbait shit. That's what that is. 2 10th edition battle reports. That is nothing more than fucking clickbait nonsense. Unsubscribe. Done. Not living with that shit. Not living with that shit at all. I'm doing great. Tired. Lots going on, but doing great. Bridget, did you hear? I'm coming back out to America. I don't know if I told anyone. Although at this rate with chat, there will be no spending money, so we just have to sit in all the time, right? Buzzing for this weekend at GHG. I'm looking forward to GHG as well, actually. It's going to be fun. If you know what we're talking about, exclamation mark GHG. If you want a last minute ticket, there are some still going. Come and hang out with us. Throat. Come and hang out with us at Element. This is what I'm saying, right? This is what I'm saying. The jog today, I was sucking air in through my arse and all kinds of... everything's knackered now. I'm all phlegmy and shit because I tried to do exercise. Actual proof that exercise is bad for you, right? More kind of 9.5 with the preview rules. It's... no, he's written 10th edition battle report. Unsubscribe. That's it. Simple as that. Joe was the mysterious cloaked figure that ran past the doorway. I mean, he is, yeah. I'm doing God's work, says ADR. I can't support that kind of stuff. That's just trying to get clicks and views. I can't do that. Can't make GHG Lehman, I am therefore sad. It means you can't win the quiz. At least other people have a chance, right? With all the Liam, with all the clickbait, unsubscribe. You better not be subscribed to Clickbait Scowrack. I mean, I actually quite like Sam on the whole. Unfortunately, like Sam's all right. He's a nice enough guy. So, Liam raging. He didn't think of the preview games first. But you can't put a game out. You don't have anywhere near enough data sheets. You don't have the points. You don't have the enhancements. You don't have all the stratagems. You don't have the core fucking rules. It's a refreshed edition. You don't have the core rules. So how can you call it a 10th edition battle report? It's absolute bollocks. In the captain data sheet, it seems the shield gives +1 wound now. Is this a new article? Have I missed a new article? Have a quick look. Now I've rage quit that fucking channel. People, honestly, people annoy me. Just be honest with content. Just be honest. Combat Patrol's file. There's a fresh article out as we're streaming. Look at this. Oh, I have to read through this now, aren't we? Yep, we're gonna have to read through this. Okay, right. Are you ready, chat? You ready to strap in for another read through? Lord Adam's been gifted a membership by Jonathan De Silva. John, you're a hero. I need to add that to my total now. Where is the buttons and stuff? 5, 6, 9. Thank you so much, John. You're a legend. We're not going to hit that 600 gold tonight, are we, our members? Varak is open about who he is, and I respect that. Yeah, I'll give him that much at least, right? Varak's all right. Okay, right. So, oh, isn't it? Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah. I can't wait to come out. New Warcom, it is. I'm going to read it now. We're going to read it right now, chat, right? Despite my fucked throat, right? Come on, support for the bad throat. F11 and screen share it. Whoop, there we go. All right, cool. Sam copied you and buzzed his head. No, I think his chat. I think his chat got him to do that because he said this many members and I'll shave my head, and he knew they'd do it. I won't do that sort of thing, right? I'm eligible. You read it for me, Viking Dad. I'm going to read it for you now, right? You ready? The new edition of Warhammer 40,000 is rapidly incoming, and it's an exciting time for fans of endless warfare in the 41st millennium. Over the last few weeks, you've learned a bit about how chapter-approved games offer match play missions and different victory conditions in the new edition. So it's time for the next of the flagship game modes, Combat Patrol. They showed off all the Combat Patrols they sell. Look at that. Isn't that fancy? All these things you can buy from Games Workshop. Combat Patrol has been designed for a wide variety of players. It can be picked up by new and returning players, people who might struggle to find the time for a larger game, players who want to try a new faction without building a 1,000-point army, or people who simply want to master a new game format. Interesting. We want to try a new faction without building a 1,000-point army, which would indicate this is less than 1,000 points for the combat patrols. One of the reasons why this is very interesting, because we're told that the combat patrols, or the two halves of the armies in the new box, are in fact the combat patrols for those factions. Instead of building an army from a selection of data sheets and points values, your games will feature balanced but varied forces based on the combat patrol boxes you can find in stores. You simply pick up the combat patrol box from your favourite faction, build your miniatures, and get ready to battle. It really is as simple as that. The Leviathan launch box itself contains enough miniatures to assemble 2 full combat patrols. The Verdigast Swarm for Tyranids and Strike Force Octavius for the Space Marines. These 2 armies are made up of some, but not all, of the models in the box. That's interesting. Not all. So there's 5 Pyros, no Stern Guard, no Apothecary, no Lieutenant. Interesting, okay. The rulebook inside the Leviathan launch box, the core book, will also be available separately, contains the organisational rules for combat patrol, and these will also be available to download for free here on Warhammer Community. There will be 6 missions designed exclusively for this game mode, which is played on a compact 44x30 board. That's 2 kill team boards put together. That's right, Games Workshop, you get them sales in, and you can look forward to combat patrol sections in future codexes. Okay. So how does this game mode work? The Warhammer Studio have been hard at work tinkering with all of the many disparate forces that are already available in order to create a fast, thrilling, and meaningfully balanced end product. We'll see. This process involved lots of playtesting, with gamers of all experience levels competing with each other to test out this exciting new game mode. Rules for each of the combat patrols were revised based on the feedback from these games to ensure each force hit that sweet spot of thematic, accessible, and balanced. I'm mildly concerned. The core principle is simple. Each combat patrol has been given a full set of self-contained rules that define it on the table. This includes data sheets, but also secondary objectives, faction rules, enhancements, and stratagems, all flavoured to match that force's narrative and balanced against every other combat patrol. That is a fucking ballsy call from GW. Interesting. The majority of data sheets have been modified, both to adapt units that would be overpowered in this format, but also to slim down more complex units to one defining rule and ensure players can master the key abilities of their units before discovering their full potential in larger games. So we're going to get different army and faction rules and different data sheets. I'm not sure about this. To keep things balanced, the weapon options for the units have been fixed for all the combat patrol data sheets, so there's no need to fret about your character and unit equipment prior to the game, and you don't need to worry about which guns to give your Chaos Space Marine Havocs, for example. The core rules remain the same, so nothing you learn in combat patrol will be redundant, apart from all the data sheet, the faction rules, and the detachment rules. Check out how the Captain and Terminator armor from the index cards compares with the streamlined Captain Octavius from combat patrol. Okay. So Captain and Terminator armor. So both have a 5-inch move, both have a toughness of 5, both have a save of 2+, and an invulnerable save of 4+. Both have wounds of 6, both have leadership of 6, both have an objective control of 1. Cool, that's fine. Okay. So this guy has a combi weapon or a storm bolter. He doesn't have the option to have a combi weapon. This guy has a relic weapon. This guy could have a chain fist, power fist, relic weapon, thunderhammer, or twin lightning cores. Okay, interesting. This one says deep strike leader, oath of moment. Unstoppable Valor, you can reroll charge rolls made for this model's unit. This one has Deep Strike Leader, Oath of Moment, but then you've got Rites of Battle, the Imperium Sword, Auxiliary Grenade Launcher, Relic Shield. Okay. If you give him a Relic Shield, he has a wound characteristic of 7. All gone. Not in this one. Okay. I assume keywords will be the same, right? Every faction's army rules will remain largely the same. Tyranids retain Shadow in the Warp and Synapse, for example, but each combat patrol features enhancements unique to this game mode to let you tweak your Warlord and try out new strategies. New to playing Tyranids and worried that your prized Tyranid Prime might be a little fragile? Psychostatic Veil gives you the Terror of Vardengast, a 4+ invulnerable save, and makes it harder to target at range or hit in melee. After you've got some games under your belt, you can try turning it into a nimble buff piece with the Secretion Goad enhancement, offering increased armor penetration to other units, perhaps your Termagant Swarm. Glorious Venomous Rage, the Psychostatic Veil. The bearer has the lone operative ability and a 4+ invulnerable save. In addition, each time a melee attack targets the bearer, subtract 1 from the hit roll, or Secretion Goad. Once per turn, while a friendly Tyranid unit within 6 inches of the bearer is selected to shoot or fight, the bearer can use this ability. If it does, until the end of the phase, improve the armor penetration characteristic of weapons equipped by models in that friendly unit by 1. Okay? I mean, I feel like the Veil is stronger, but I don't think that's the point. I think the point is you can try different things out, right? The 6 combat patrol missions in the core book each have their own characteristic mission rules, deployment map, and primary objectives. You'll find one change from the core rules here. Unless they're battle shocked, your battle line units can secure objective markers, allowing you to keep control of them even when your squads move on. This presents new applications for many battle line troops and board control challenges for the elite Space Marines. In addition to your mission's shared primary objective, every combat patrol can also choose between a pair of secondary objectives to let you define how you play. Wrath of the Emperor has you send your Juggernaut captain right into the fray, spraying guts and ichor with Stormbolt and Power Sword, scoring 2 victory points for each phase in which he kills any models. However, you may find that certain armies are resistant to the hammer blow assault of one very chunky boy. As you develop your tactical nous, you might instead prefer to employ shock tactics to wrench back battlefield control with your elite Adeptus Society, scoring 5 victory points every turn you knock your enemy off an objective marker and take it for yourself. Wrath of the Emperor, 2VP, every phase your captain kills something, shock tactics. Just told us what it is, right? Even stratagems are brought into consideration. Each combat patrol has just 3 bespoke stratagems, with one that's designed to be reactive. These are also part of the balancing in combat patrol. The Vardingar Swarm gets to top up its squishy termagant swarms with teeming broods, bringing back destroyed models, or even recycling a whole unit as strategic reserves. Maybe shooting them off the board isn't such a good idea. Let me guess, you bring a unit back. This is becoming common at the moment. You can use a strategy if that unit is destroyed. If it's not destroyed, return up to D6 models. Otherwise, if it is, put an identical unit in tactical unit in your army, identical to your destroyed unit in tactical strategic reserves containing 2D6 models. I prefer this version. Right, this is cool. Okay. It won't have escaped your attention that certain combat patrols contain big, tough monsters and formidable vehicles, while others are somewhat lacking in the heavy weapons you'd normally use to take such targets down. Stratagems like Veteran Instincts will even the score by granting your Terminators the ability to reroll wound rolls when swinging their power fists against giant-sized targets. Reroll a wound roll of a 1. I mean, it's not reroll wound rolls, is it? It's reroll wound rolls of a 1. If the target attacks a monster or vehicle, you can reroll the wound roll instead. Okay, I take that back. They were right. I shouldn't assume. These rules, shaped by in-depth testing that saw old veterans and brand new Warhammer 40,000 players test their mettle against each other over many, many games, resulted in a mode of play that's simple at first glance, yet full of depth. With fewer units on the board and fewer abilities to consider, combat patrol is more about working out what to move and when, holding your prize haymaker back until just the right moment, and learning the intricacies of your force's options. Everything you need to play combat patrol, apart from the miniatures, will be available for free online when the new edition launches. Introducing a friend to the world of Warhammer 40,000 with the help of your collection has never been easier. You can even set up your own combat patrol, or why not go wide and collect one combat patrol from every faction? Why? I mean, that's such a Games Workshop statement, right? Why not go wide and collect one combat patrol from every faction, please, at £90 a box? We'd love for you to do that. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. Honestly, unless we're told we basically have to for previews, I can't see me playing combat patrol much at all, if I'm honest. And it also, like, they're saying, like, we've removed weapon options, which sounds positive. Apart from, like, say you've bought a combat patrol with a Space Marine captain in it already, Terminator captain, say that was a possibility, and you've built the Power Fist, and then this now comes out, and you're like, I mean, I can't use it because I built the Power Fist, and you told me I've got to have a Relic Blade. And it's when they make statements like in-depth playtesting, like, who are you trying to convince? Who are you trying to convince? I'm not sold that will be as in-depth as I think, right? If I even take myself out of the equation and you bring people like Boxy, Manny Kima, some of the Art of War guys, Lawrence, into that place and you give them those rules, I guarantee they break some of them straight away. Like, I guarantee. Just ignore WYSIWYG for Combat Patrol. Not hard. I mean, that's fair. For content, I don't like ignoring WYSIWYG, though. In-depth bollocks. Yeah, I really like the sound of this, even though I'm not sure how much playtesting it actually may have happened. Well, exactly. Like Games Workshop, but there's something you like, buy it. I mean, that's very much a them approach, right? Exactly that. Does it need to be WYSIWYG for Combat Patrol? I guess not. It's only really aimed at it's not really aimed at full-time 40k YouTubers. No, it's not. Right, granted. Oh, Hokum Paints, I missed that. Thank you for becoming a member. Join the channel. 19 tonight, people. 30 to go before we hit 600. Who's feeling it? 370 words. Okay, hang on. If all 370 people gift a single membership, we'll almost be at the month's target. And each one of you to gift is just £5. this is marketing for new players. No, I know it. I get that, but I don't know. I would also argue it's not just marketing for new players, but also marketing for returning players who may not have played in 9th edition, maybe not even in 8th edition, right? So if they are therefore then using established models they've had for a while, I don't know. I mean, it sounds... If it works, right, if it actually brings new people into the game, if it lowers that barrier to entry and genuinely actually lowers that barrier to entry, and it is as balanced as they say, and this last part is the most important part. If it is as balanced as they say, yes, this is great. 100% great, and I'm fully behind it. Why not go wide and buy multiple members? Exactly, right? Exclamation mark gift. Good man. £95 per combat patrol. Is it, Angus? Really? Oh my god. Oh my god. Ginger Steve, thank you so much for the one. Calidus, thank you for the one. Here we go, people. Here we go. You ready to hit 900 in a night? It started. It started, team. And it's finished. Sounds like they just made boarding actions again. I'd like to know what the points are. Mordy Hammer, thank you so much for the one. Hero. Here we go. It started again. We've started again, team. What if my PT business wasn't on the verge of collapsing? That sucks, Craig. That sucks. Everybody who wants a fresh PT, reach out to Craig the Kilt. Thanks, Gippy. Thank you, Garthy. Look at you people. You're doing it. You're doing it. But returning players will still have to buy the CP box. Well, no, not if they... Well, maybe they would. But combat patrol boxes don't necessarily have models that are exclusive to combat patrol boxes, Bridger. That's the thing. Eldar players might already have all the models in a combat patrol box. Imagine an Eldar player who played in 7th edition, okay, who didn't play 8th or 9th edition, or maybe they played 8th and didn't like 9th edition, has all the members in a combat patrol box having never bought a combat patrol box, right? Then comes in and is like, cool, I wanna learn this new edition, but my Farseer is modelled with a witchblade instead of a singing spear or something. I don't know. I'm making a thing out of something that's just really not a problem, because like people have already suggested, you just won't use WYSIWYG, right? And then it's not a problem. So I'm making something of nothing here, and I'm conscious of it. In the meantime, Bridger, thank you so much for the gifting membership, you hero. Suspect, thank you for the 1. Plague of Shadow, thank you for the 5. Sheep Avenger for the 10. Venturn with the 1, thank you. James Hobbs with the other 5, and Daniel with the 1. So 6, 7, 17, 22... 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Thank you so much, you beautiful people. You're all amazing. Did I get Daniel as well? Yeah, I got Daniel 29. Aren't you amazing? Nearly at 900, look, see? Oh, System RC in with a... Oh, right at the end there. I just did the update as well. You beautiful humans, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Legends, all of you. Yes, Slam Sector says that Legends. 10th launch box can be used for combat patrol. Yeah, it can. How do you gift from the phone app? You can't. If you're on iPhone, you know you can't. I'm holy, because I tried to do it on Titan's channel. You can't do it from the phone app. Michael Grundy, thank you for the 5. Oh, beautiful people. Beautiful people. It's a great song, that one. Thank you so much, man. You're a hero. Durgrim Bloodbeard for the 5. This is just it now. This is the stream from now. I'm just going to be thanking people. Who is the biggest legend? Thank you, people. You're amazing. You're all amazing. Not for new players. Says I've missed that. The question is this a good introduction to Warhammer for new players? The way they're marketing it is definitely sounding like it's a good introduction for new players. The fact that, I mean, I would still argue that the cost barrier... Okay. I would argue that to some extent the cost barrier to come in at combat patrol level is still too high for new players, right? So... You're still talking about a £95 box before snips, glue, paints, paintbrushes, blah, 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 right? And there's a lot to get into it before you then know if you like it or not. And I have always been an advocate for... I've always been an advocate for Kill Team being should be the very, very lowest entry point for 40k, right? Garcy, thank you for the 2. UCP to teach Luce and Brom as they're both new. I think Luce would pick it up quicker. Mordy Hammer, thank you for the 5. The reminder to buy models is GW reminding us that they are being generous, giving us the rules instead of a $50 book. I mean, yeah, absolutely. But what was I saying? You just throw me right off then. Okay, yeah. So £95, and you still got all these extra stuff that you have to do to get it ready. We had a thing in 8th edition, right? Back in the old days of the DZ Discord, right? There was a hashtag that people use all the time. Hashtag just to kill team, right? There was a there was just this thing that happened where people were buying a box of Guardians or a box of Space Marines or a box of something, and it's just a kill team. I'm just paying for a kill team. I'm just buying a kill team. And the kill team rules then were very, very similar to actual 40k rules, whereas now they're quite different. Just a kill. I'm just buying a kill team. I'm just buying a kill. It's just a kill team. It's nothing more. It's just a kill team, right? But it didn't work because they'd buy the kill team, and then they'd buy more models for their kill team, and then they'd buy more models for their kill team. And they're like, well, actually, if I add this and this, I've got 500 points. And if I've got 500 points, this is just this far to go to 1,000 points. And they'd add the combat patrol. And there was a scale level. So the very, very base level at that point was 5 models or 10 models. 1 box was the base level. And if you look at it now, actually, if you look at the fact they now sell kill team boxes, which are a whole kill team. Dr. Deanbag, thank you so much for the one. I don't know if I've already thanked you for that one, but it's just popped up on here as well. The kill team boxes as standalone boxes would be a great, like, 1 box and you're in, okay? 1 box and you're in for kill team. That's it. Combat patrol now, and 1 book for multiple kill teams. Combat patrol now is £95. Paint, snips, glue, the codex, because eventually the rules are going to be, well, they're not going to be replaced. The free rules you'll always have access to, but eventually you're going to get a codex, which will give you other detachment rules. And I mean, to be fair, perhaps they won't be relevant for combat patrol, and I'm really hoping that the combat patrol boxes either have the rules inside them, or like, it would be super cool if they started going combat patrol, we're now putting all the cards in, or the combat patrol box, the combat patrol rules should always be free. But still, it's not a low barrier to entry with paints and snips and glue and the box. It's still like 150 quid at least, right? Holy, thank you for the 2. Here is a few shekels instead of a flaccid member. Thanks, man. You're a hero. We haven't quite hit the title we needed for the 8K resin printer tonight, team. Right? Haven't quite got there. £95 you still can't play because you've got to spend another £95 on tools, paints, and spend 95 days putting it. Exactly. I mean, I would think it, like, as a stepping stone is great, but I still think that the best entry point would have been when Kill Team and its rules were very similar to 40k with some extra nuances because they're single models, right? That's the thing. Like, Kill Team, then Combat Patrol, then we hit Incursion, Strike Force, and then you got Apocalypse. That's how you scale rules. Kill Team should have always been the way into 40k. And although it kind of is model-wise, it kind of is the way into 40k model-wise, in terms of accessibility and rules-wise, it's not quite there because the rules are very different to actual 40k. Okay? They said that 40k wasn't going to stay free. That's cool. That's cool. I hope they do. Right? I hope they do. If Kill Team boxes themselves were ever actually in stock, well, there's that as well, right? I have a shiny 8K printer still in its wrapping, just sitting here. Is it the Elegoo? What's the one I've got in my Amazon basket that I can't afford? Elegoo Saturn 2 8K 3D printer. A Saturn 2 8K. Just asked Valrak how to get loads of members in one night. It's on Grindr, that's how he gets that. Playing with Magic the Gathering Commander peeps warped my idea of acceptable hobby cost. £50 for a single card, if it's powerful enough, is considered reasonable. I mean, certain Magic players just take the whole value thing and throw it out the window, right? £50 for a card is... £95 is normal GW price and not the discount you get with this YouTube page. £95 is normal GW, yeah. If you go to Element, you'll get it cheaper. Obviously. Stephen Stone would have been cheaply produced rubber models, not fully constructed models designed for more experienced players. I mean, if I'm honest, I don't think they're ever going to do that, and I don't think that's a route they should go. I think part of it being the hobby is the models themselves, right? If you buy your Combat Patrol from a friendly local gaming store, Element less than 95, yeah, it will be, absolutely will be, 100%. SDF Goodall, welcome to the channel. Hasir Tier, thank you so much for joining us, you hero. What a legend. Thank you. You lovely human. I need to jump to the top here. So it'll update in a minute. Boop. Okay. Just FYI, I got a Saturn 2 and it's been pretty bad experience waiting for a replacement LCD right now. Oh, really? A friend of mine who is a prolific 3D printer has a Saturn 2 and has had nothing but good things about it. Maybe you just got a bad one. That's a shame. That sucks. Maybe I'll do some more research. Zena, thank you for the 10. Oh, wow. 10 gifted memberships all in one go. You're a hero. I need to update my thing now, don't I? Thank you so much, Zena. You legend. Boop. We're closing in on that 700 team. We're closing in. Do we think boarding actions will lean into 10th ed or still just be difficult if you don't have a fast melee army? So, first of all, James, thanks for the 5. That's a hard one, right? So boarding actions, they've told us the boarding action rules will port across and they will still be relevant in 10th. Maybe, just maybe, with a reduction in number of attacks and number of amount of AP and etc., the fast melee armies might bounce every now and again and it might not be so bad. Right? I think that it might not be as bad. It might not be as bad, is what I'm saying, Mr. The Hobbs. But I don't know. Again, like I haven't seen, for example, a Banshee datasheet. So if I see a Banshee datasheet for Eldar or things akin to that, I get a better idea as to whether boarding actions might become more viable or not, right? Saturn is amazing, says Ben. So people get your friends involved and support Liam in the process. Oh, Garcy, thank you. I have a question. I've got £45 in element vouchers. What Eldar do I buy? Can me any of the 3 races? Can be any of the 3 races. Can be any of the 3 races. What Eldar I buy for £45 voucher? I don't know. Message me, John, later. Tell me what you've got, and I'll go from there. Pip says Elegoo are a solid company, but they are better. Oh, are they? Okay. I feel like Elegoo is one of the better ones for barrier to entry. Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, a friend of mine apparently raves about them. His stuff that I've seen looks amazing. I'm sad that the other guys had a terrible experience. In the article, the Custodian CP box is not shown. Is it not? Are they taking Custodians back out of 40k? Is Bridger still watching? I only say things like that to wind him up.
Hashtag printer for Liam.
I don't know, thank
Less
you.
than 3.
Less than 3. Don't worry, I know what you meant. In the combat patrol boxes that we have got Athrotarum, Admech, Tau, Chaos Space Marines, Tyranids, which is showing the new models interestingly, Sororitas, Drakari, Votan, Khorne Demons. Why is the Demons combat patrol box just Khorne? I feel that's a bit of a swing and a miss there. Grey Knights, Dark Angels, Space Marines, again, new stuff. Blood Angels, Genocide Cults, Orcs, Thousand Suns, Space Wolves, Eldar, Death Watch, and Death Guard. Interesting. Elegoo are great for the price. If you can go one better, get Frozen. Okay. Thank you for the gift as well. I had laser eye surgery again today. Shot in my left eye 120 times. Hurts like demonic hell. Love the streams. Thank you. That sounds awful, man. But I hope it's working. I hope it's working. You're right as well, Mystics. There's no Custodies patrol box in there. That's it. It's now canon. I'm going to do a Mordian and stick out a new stream title. Custodies are being taken out of 40k. There we go. At some point, I'm going to have to come up with a design for custard-covered Custodies. Sounds great. Thanks for the gifted sub. I'm about 25 minutes behind in all the stream. There's Matt. I got a Saturn 2 recently with a drop in price. Great so far. Stuck with Elegoo because my Mars 2 Pro was an absolute machine. I just bought it at the beginning of April. Barely got any usable... Oh, hang on. It's moving too quick. Usable prints out of it before the LCD just died. Maybe you just got a bad one. Maybe. Hopefully, Will, you just got a bad one. They replace it. All good. Right? Hopefully. Now, you want to avoid any cubic printed... I mean, I don't know what... This is the problem, right? Now I don't know what half you people are talking about. I need it to be easy for me to use, team. I don't have the time to learn. I agree they need to do a combat patrol for each of the other demon factions again. They do, yeah. I think GW may also be using the new combat patrol game to sell more models to new players. Kind of like Kill Team. For example, they could make more than one combat patrol for each faction. They could. I don't think they will. They could. Interesting. Interesting. Look at Vogue Man for some info on printers. I am thinking of shooting my load over a DLP printer as they last longer for... I don't... You're putting me off now, team, if I'm honest. They could just make new combat patrols with a new rule drop. They don't even need to drop a new box. True. I mean, that would be... What would be cool would be to give you more combat patrols that aren't just ones they sell in boxes, but they won't do that. Because the idea is that you buy their box, right? Ultimately. Right. Can I rely on you people to behave yourselves for 2 seconds? Like, now it's a 2 to 3 hour stream, me sat here. I now really need the bathroom, right? I need to mute myself. I need to go for 2 seconds. So can I trust you to not leave for 2 seconds? The bathroom is literally out my office door, right? So just don't leave. Don't super chat wildly offensive stuff that she's going to read out. Don't give me loads to catch up on. I'm definitely going to put out new boxes. The whole idea of selling boxes, apart from Custodian's Bridge, they're dropping them from 40k. We've already been through this, right? We've already been through it. So I'm going to trust you. I've got no other responses coming through right now because we're on a delay, right? So, too late, Mikey's... Oh, I've got this one now. Okay, no, definitely not. Too late, Mikey's already released 2 videos about Custodians being gone. Right, 2 seconds. It's free real estate. Behave yourselves. I'm going to mute myself. Okay, good. Looks like you guys did at least behave yourselves. Joe Camwen. No super chat ticket. Okay, perfect. I just had to check. Right. The problem is, chat, right? The problem is that Liam's read a chat at the toilet now. The problem is that I'm moving into a self-care kind of phase. So, like, I have been, especially with what went on a couple of months ago.
Hey Alexa, play Gay Bar by Electric 6.
She's actually playing it as well, James. Thankfully, she's really quiet. Alexa, stop. Thank you, James, for that 10. I appreciate it. It did actually start. The worst thing is now it's going to have it on my recents and it will play it more frequently. Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm moving into some self-care, right? So with what went on a couple of months ago, if you guys don't know, I did own a business with Winters, which was Deployment Zone. I say did because I've been recently closing it all down. There's more explanation on his channel about what happened with that. It was a shame, but it means I've been crazy, right? It's been really busy, really frantic. And I've not really done a lot looking after myself, right? So, shitty food, terrible snacks, all that kind of stuff. And I guess a lot of us who work, and probably even some of us that don't, I guess we probably do the same thing. Like, work comes first, and there's this, and there's hobby, blah, blah, family, and then, like, you put yourself right at the bottom, right? So, often you put yourself right at the bottom. I'm terrible for putting myself right at the bottom, below the kids, the wife, the channel, the job, the work, the hobby, Joe. Like, I put myself below all of those things all the time. And I kind of have got, like, recently I kind of got really lethargic is probably the right word. Luce claimed that she thought it was kind of like mid to low level depression that's kicking in because of what's been going on over the last couple of months, and she probably isn't all that far wrong. But it's just as a feeling constantly, right? So what we're doing is we're smashing 2 giant bottles of water every day, and today I went for a run, which I have regrets. Hobby was before family on the list. Of course, Bridger, it makes the money, right? So I excuse me. So 2 bottles of water and a run today. I've started planning gym sessions, all kinds of stuff. I did it like last summer. I was quite good at it, and then it kind of dropped off a little bit. And then obviously with what's gone on, it's got worse. But like I said, the thing is, I started to feel really, and that's bad. Like when you get to that point, you're like, okay, I need to do something about this. So there's a bit more self-care happening now. I'm trying to spend some time focusing on fitness, eating better, stopping shit snacks. Like I'm terrible. I was terrible for chocolate bars and big bags of chips, crisps, whatever you want to call them. And then just devouring the whole fucking lot. But it's like, you know, at that point it was a case of it's a quick, easy snack. It's comfort food. It makes me happy. But it doesn't actually make you happy, right? It makes you happy very, very shortly. Very, very short-lived. But now I'm getting fed up of how I constantly feel a bit shitty. And it's directly related to health and food and water and stuff like that. So we're eating better. I'm drinking better. I get crunk, Liam. You should meet Saray when you're out here. He makes me want to work out. I've seen it. I saw it on stream on Saturday. So we're doing all these things to try and improve while still not sacrificing channel content time, etc. And I'm hoping it makes a difference, right? And I'd encourage you guys to join me, genuinely. I have started posting, like today I posted my first run on Strava. I can share that kind of stuff in the Fit for 40k thread in Discord, and we can egg each other on and help each other. In fact, we are planning a thing in Discord for channel members to be able to sign up to. There will be financial implications to it, and it won't be as high as you're probably expecting. But we are opening the doors to people in Discord getting access to personal trainer frequently, because we did the transformation challenge earlier in the year and saw some incredible results from people. So it's something we're going to try and open up to more people more frequently, and encourage people to be better with their health, etc. Because I think it's probably fair to say, right? Painted Dawn, cut out those full sugar monsters. I've just shit canned Monster altogether. Painted Dawn. I've got sugar-free Sprite in the fridge as my fizzy drink. I've completely got rid of energy drinks and stuff like that. So it's probably fair to say that as wargamers, we're typically quite bad at looking after ourselves. And I think it's also fair to say that typically there is a stereotype body shape that exists. And, you know, I'm on that path to that body shape right now, and I don't want to be there. So we have the Fit for 40k thread in Discord, and there's some prolific users in there. We have access to a personal trainer. More details coming soon about exactly what we're going to offer you people as part of your membership if you pay a little bit extra to get access to a trainer. And it's nothing like what an actual personal trainer would cost you, to be fair. One of my key points was keeping the price point reasonable and keeping the barrier to entry low. But, you know, we'll get there eventually. But I just haven't looked after myself for like 6 months plus now. And so it's time. It's time. Dave, thank you for the 2. What do you call an exploding monkey? A baboom. Brilliant. Thanks. And James, thank you for the 2. You're a hero. Carl of Hodgie, thank you for the 20. Wow. What are you doing, you lunatic? Don't spend that much money. That's too much money. 10's okay. 20's too much. All right. 20's too much. But thank you, man. We're almost at 650. 8 away. The Henry Cavill challenge. And this is, like I said, proof that exercise is bad for you, right? The Joe shape, yeah. I'm going to abuse my youthful metabolism while I can. It only bites me in the arse when I bugger my knee up. The thing is, I had that same metabolic rate, right? When I was a younger man, when I first joined up in the forces, my metabolic rate was mental, and I could not do any exercise and go and pass a fitness test without problems. As I got further through my career, that became more of a problem. And once I left and I had no physical test, it was a massive problem. So we'll get there. 6 months rookie numbers. Like I said, I just haven't. It's just been. It's very easy when you work for yourself. It's very easy to put everything else above your own kind of health. But, you know, your own health literally directly impacts your mood, your mental state, the work you put out, how good you are, right? It's honestly, it makes a massive difference. So if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you perform better. And it's just, I've just been really lethargic and really kind of run down. And I'm excited now. And you know what? Part of this is also to do with the fact that I think I suffer a little bit from seasonal, I think I call it like seasonal something depression. It's basically where if you're in like winter, or especially winter in certain countries, this one's not the best either for it, but when you're in like winter and stuff and it's dark more often than it's light and it's rainy and it's cold and it's miserable, it brings your mood down. Like, it's an actual thing. It's a condition that exists. I definitely suffer from it to a point. I like sunny places. I like warmth. I like blue skies. So we're coming into spring now, and I feel like the name is getting the kind of weather and the feel is more greenery around, which is a naturally calming colour for humans. Did you know? And the weather's getting better slowly. So, you know, that is helping. And then 10th is coming, and it's given me a real positive, like, I know it's seasonal affective disorder. That's the one. And sad, there you go. Thank you, team. And so I definitely suffer from that, 100%, no doubt, because I definitely feel a bit lower in the winter months, and I feel much more energized in the summer months. But then, like I said, it's definitely also linked to things like 10th, right? So I've become fatigued with 9th. I've probably been fatigued with 9th for about 6 months as well, funny old thing. And that change, in addition, and the positivity that I think I'm feeling from the majority of people around 10th is definitely helping, right? I'm out of here to go to the dispo and probably get ready for family dinner and Titan stream later. Peace, everyone. Liam, we love you, man. Please take care of yourself. Elijah, you're a hero. Thanks for hanging out, man. Rambo, thank you for the 5. Discord PT sounds amazing. Can we have more info at GHG? Yes, Rambo, you can give out the info at GHG. Sounds like he's moving to California. Loose wouldn't move. It's not going to happen. It's been a fucking long winter too. I mean, it has. We even pissed it down here today. Right, we're in May, for fuck's sake. 10 days ago, 11 years ago, or whenever it was, 12 years ago, Luce and I got married, and it was beautiful blue skies and sunshine, and I cooked in my uniform.
Hey, Liam. Are you saying my dad is bad? I do need to lose some weight and learn to take care of myself better. Finding time is indeed hard, though. I'm lucky I'm tall, or I'd be really fat.
Yeah, okay, I'm also really tall. I'm quite lucky, otherwise I'd be monumentally fat. Time is the hardest thing, right? Time is the most precious resource that you can't buy, ultimately. You just can't buy time, right? I need 36-hour days, not 24-hour days, to get everything done that I want to do. You can't buy time. It just goes. It's finite, right? That's it. So you have 24 hours in a day. You need to get good sleep. That's something that's important. So you need typically to have good positive rest. So typically you need like 6 to 8 hours ish. And some people will say they cope better. They cope okay on 5, but that's fine. You know, everyone is different. But typically you need 6 to 8 hours good rest. So let's go on the lower end of the scale and say 6. That leaves you with 18 hours in a day. When you work for yourself, and sometimes not even when you work for yourself, sometimes when you just do a simple 9 to 5 job, or you do a 12-hour shift job. I used to work 12-hour shifts at Siemens. Like, trying to squeeze in an hour and a half of exercise time is impossible. Where do you find it? Where do you find the time? Lucy and I were talking about this today. Today, what I wanted to do, I did some work this morning. I made some shorts for Titans. If you go check out Table of Titans, there's tons of shorts up there that I'm making for them, and I'm really enjoying that. That's fun, working with those guys. But I made those, and what I wanted to do at that point, I did about an hour's research into 3D printers. And what I wanted to do at that point was I wanted to take my Space Marine into the garage and stick him in the airbrush booth and paint him black, and then put his base colours on. And then I knew that if I did that, I'd tumble down a rabbit hole of painting him, and I'd have him here on the desk, and I'd get the brushes out. So what I did instead was I plotted a route, I got my old running gear out, I put it on, and I went running. Right? And I did that for an hour, basically. And I got back, and I lost another hour or two because I was absolutely fucking exhausted because it was hard. It was so hard, right? But I'm glad I did it. But what that meant was something had to give for me to go. But the importance of looking after myself is so fucking high that I can't I can't stress enough that it's worth trying to find that time. Full-time dad to a autistic toddler. I make Grom the Pouch look like Henry Cavill. I'm not allowed to say that name. It's clickbait. Thanks, Ben. James Hobbs, thank you for the 2. Embrace the piss tank. Absolutely not, mate. No, not at all. Eric Dobbs, thank you for joining the channel as a Hasir. You're absolutely legend. Thank you so much. I'm Holy, thank you for the 5. I work for the NHS. Our health and fitness as a collective is fucked. Shift work is the best. Shift work was horrible, man. Shift work was one of the ones that really fucked my fitness.
Time is always the ultimate game winner. Appreciate all you on the crew do, man.
Deathwing Duck, thank you so much for the 10, man. You're a legend. I appreciate you. Yeah, if you can find the time, it's worth doing. It's hard. Sometimes you have to the biggest thing, sometimes you have to force that time. A while ago, you talked about other GW games. Is that still an option for the 9th Ed Fatigue? In the future, yeah. I mean, this is the whole point. This one Space Marine, I busted out an old box I had. An old box I had from ages ago. Busted this out, right? To make this. So that's, like I was chatting to Joe. Joe's very excited about doing some Heresy content in the future. So we're going to be putting some Heresy armies together. We might be doing some Heresy content in the future. Maybe. Maybe. If there's enough interest in Heresy content, obviously. We don't know yet. There might not be enough interest. It might be that you guys are just like stalwart 40k fans only. Kill teams, I don't really love Kill Team. So I don't know if I'd ever really want to stream that. I don't necessarily think it'd make good stream content. Maybe I'm wrong. But there's definitely options to do other things. AOS is something that I was very close to jumping into really, really hard, and then they started talking about 10th. So, you know. I think at the moment, if I'm going to play anything that's not 40k, it will be Heresy. Failing that, the other thing that I'm... Okay, don't get too excited, chat. But the only other thing that I'm really tempted to put on the channel is Battlefleet Gothic. Quite tempted by that. Battlefleet Gothic, I'm quite tempted to show off as well. So, MCP, Marvel Crisis Protocol. Oh, I'd rather not, Bridger. Manual cool point. I'd rather not play. I'd rather not play Marvel Crisis Protocol. I think I'm gonna. I'm strong. Here's another reason potentially for a 3D printer. I think I'm gonna put some time and effort into Heresy. So.
Hell yeah, Heresy.
John, that's a stupid amount to start with. Thank you so much for the big dono, man. That's ridiculous. I knew you'd like Heresy. Excuse me. But yeah, I think Heresy is where I'm going to go. It's another, like, I was looking for Sons of Horus doors for a Spartan on Forge World, and I found that they don't make them anymore. And then I found some Spartan Sons of Horus doors, but they're STLs. So I'm like, okay, some of this stuff's just going to be flat easier if I just fucking print it. But that's why I need 700 fucking quid for a printer, right? But maybe sometime soon, maybe next month, if things keep going okay, we could think about funding a printer, and then we could start printing doors. And like I said, we could sell you people channel shoulder pads and stuff, right? But yeah, I think that all Battlefleet Gothic. Yeah, I found, again, printer, right? You can print the fleets out now. So there's a lot of benefits to this printer potentially that could be bringing new content to the channel as well. So I miss Battlefleet Gothic. Yeah, I love Battlefleet Gothic. John says, hey, Bridger. And also, I'm very sorry. What have you done to him? Kill Team is awesome. Finding ways to film it in a good way seems to be a problem, let alone streaming it. Yeah, exactly. It's hard to make content around it, right? So get them cruisers rocking and blast that Nova Cannon. I didn't know that people still played it or it was still supported. I also know I have access to the rulebook, etc. It's something I'm very interested in. I used to play some Spartan Games did it. What was it called? There was a spaceship battle game that Spartan Games used to make. Firestorm Armada. I used to like Firestorm Armada quite a lot. So yeah. But you want to print it, says John. I've got ideas. Message me, but I've been shopping today. I just didn't hit the buy button. Working my way through the Age of Darkness box, Sons of Horus. If you guys are doing Heresy, that gives me additional motivation to press on. I'm doing Sons of Horus because I have this little... I've dug this one out, right? GW sent this through to me, I never did anything with it. Right? They sent me this little cheeky chap through. Never did anything with it. I now want to do something with it. So my workaround, my excuse for doing something with this, right, is to just do a whole Sons of Horus army, right? And one of the biggest reasons why I never played Heresy before was resin. Now, I know he's resin. I get that he's resin, right? I get that's a problem. But one of the reasons why I never did Heresy before was resin. And you can now make most of an army in plastic. And that sings to me. I make Bridges' life difficult due to my impulsive ideas for tabletop tie-ins. Try Drop Fleet Commander. I'm bringing Battlefleet Gothic down to Grey at Hull Gathering. I haven't played it yet, but I know people that will teach me. John's about to post him an inkjet printer. It's made by the same dude that made Battlefleet Gothic, and why you won't ever get Battlefleet Gothic again from Games Workshop. What's that from? That's Leon. Drop Fleet Commander. Okay. I have the original BFG book and the Armada expansion. I love spaceship battles, right? I'm thinking one of those old printers with the holes on the edges in the paper that just prints back and forth, making the tick, tick, tick sound. Brilliant. Thanks, people. Thanks. But yeah, I think I feel like Heresy is something I could enjoy playing. And I think that... So there was a little part... Okay, I'll also own up, right? There's a little part of me that thinks that... there's a little part of me that thinks that... Or thought that, I should say. Not thinks that. There's a little part of me that thought that when 10th dropped... it may have been similar to Heresy rules. I genuinely thought for a while they might step back into the 7th kind of rule set after 9th and what was going on with 9th. And so I thought that potentially we would have seen a similar-ish rule set between Heresy and 40k. With some nuanced differences to make sure that it was, of course, differentiated between, but I thought we might see some similar rules. And I was wildly wrong.
Could use models as a running reward. Did a run can paint a mini you are saving less than 3.
I love the less than 3 she keeps reading out now. That's my new favourite thing she reads out, less than 3, right? So, thank you, Calidus. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to try and paint this model tomorrow, but I might even just do a little jog tomorrow morning. I did 4 mile today. I might just do a little one tomorrow morning to keep the legs moving and then sit and paint a bit in the afternoon, perhaps. Anyway. I've also got to blend all the joins on this Imperial Knight as well. So I've got loads to do, loads of hobby. I'm really positive right now about all this nonsense, right? But yeah, so I kind of thought that the rules would be similar, like Heresy rules would port into 40k now because, you know, it's universal special rules, all that kind of stuff. I was like, okay, maybe that's what they're going to do. Maybe with the release of Heresy 2.0 last year, and the way that it was still 7th, I was like, okay, maybe they're going to come away from this 8th, 9th stuff that they've got going on right now and back to kind of some of the roots. I wasn't sure on it. Like I wouldn't go as far as to say I was like positive that's what they were going to do, but I thought there was a theory that could have come true, right? And I wouldn't put it past GW either, to be fair. However, with 10th edition's showcase rules, it's clearly a very different game. So I like the idea as well that Heresy and 10th will continue, and Heresy and 40k will continue to be very different games. At which point, I'm more okay playing them because it's not like, well, I could just be playing 40k. You know what I mean? Now, I am still slightly nervous about power armor on power armor, but I've been speaking to people that play who still really love it and really love it. So I think I'm going to give it a go. But the only thing I still hate is the way the rules are laid out, to be fair. But we're going to try it. I'm going to give Heresy a go. We're going to learn how to play Heresy. And if I really enjoy it and I pick it up, we will make content about it as well, right? The USRs in 10th are rookie numbers compared to how many and how nuanced they are for Heresy. I mean, it's, yeah. That's the thing as well. It needs to make compelling and interesting content. And we have bonuses for Heresy already. And the biggest bonus we have from Heresy is that we have a Joe. So because we have a Joe, we've already got a benefit over every other channel that currently streams Heresy or showcases Heresy, right? And it's whether we can also make it streamable. Because I don't like... I ordered 100 Iowa's 3D print shoulder pads, which arrived last week. Today, a further 100 arrived. Apparently, I'm launching my own crusade. So I don't really like pre-recorded battle reports. I prefer the live interaction with the audience, with the players, catching all those moments. I flat prefer them. So I would need to be able to stream Heresy. Now, theoretically, it would stream the same way that 40k streams. Logically, right? We would do the same sort of thing, same setup, etc. However, it needs to stay as interesting and as fun. And again, we have people like Eddie's and Joe's to keep it interesting and fun. But that's a key factor. If I was to stream a couple of games and feel like it was a bit flat and boring, then I wouldn't bother with it at all. So there's no promise, is what I'm saying. Then get me the deets over Epic Heresy teaser at QFest. I'm getting a nerd boner. What Epic Heresy teaser at QFest? Was there one? Imp hadn't touched GW since before 8th. Horus Heresy sucked me back in. If you can get over the badly edited rules, it's amazing. The rules are fucking dreadful. Well, that's a lie. The rules aren't dreadful. The rules layouts are dreadful for Heresy. Right? This is something that I feel like, at the moment at least, 10th is fucking nailing the rules layout. I've always felt like one of the biggest barrier to entries for any of these types of things is how you can get accessibility to the rules, how you can get to the rules that you need, and where you find them. And when I first tried to get into Heresy, when they first launched it, I was like, yeah, I'm doing Heresy because it's fucking cool, right? So I had the main rule book and I bought the Heretic book because it's me. It's going to be a Heretic book, right? And I think I went to the Leviathan because I had a Leviathan here that GW had sent me, and I was trying to look at I think it was the Grav Flux Bombard rules for the Chaos Leviathan, and there was one set of keywords that trying to find all those keywords and what they meant between those two big, thick, chunky fucking books stressed me the fuck. I hated it. And it annoyed me enough to make me rage quit. Like, legit was the reason why I was like, this is fucking stupid. Whoever laid these out is stupid. And I maintain this. Whoever laid out the rules for Heresy should probably have been sacked. Whoever decided we're going to put these keywords here and these keywords there and these meanings here, we're going to separate weapons by weapon type, but we won't do them in alphabetical order, but we'll just separate them by weapon type anyway. And then you'll go to a whole page which is just for a Leviathan. We won't put all the weapon rules in that page. We'll tell you what weapons they can have, but we won't put the weapon rules in that page. So then you've got to go and find the Grav Flux weapons in the Grav Flux area, but then you've also got to go and find the Storm Cannon weapons in the Storm Cannon area, and each one of those will have their own set of keywords, and then you'll go to one set of keywords which will be, some of them will be in the Heresy book, the main rule book, and some of them will be in the Heretic Astartes book, and then you go to the Storm Cannon and it's the same detail. So before you know it, you've looked at 10 different pages, 12 different pages to work out what two weapons do. This is where 10th is nailing it. One page and some keywords. That's why 10th, I think, is going to be so good accessibility-wise. So good. Because you have your page, which has all of your weapon rules, all of your abilities, everything on it. You're going to have 2 pages for your army rules, and then you're going to have some keywords, which will just refer you to the rulebook keyword section, right? You're looking in 3 places. In fact, for the weapon rules, you're looking in 2 places: keyword section, and then this one little card, one little data sheet. Heresy 10 to 12 to just find out what a fucking Grav Flux Bombard and a Storm Cannon does is ridiculous. Once you've learned it all, I assume it's probably not that bad, right? I assume it's not the world's worst. But getting to the point where you know everything is and you learn it all is he should be sacked. He should be sacked. Honestly. Bloody obtuse for the sake of it. Yeah, Andre, 100%. It was. I don't understand. But this is where, again, and this is the thing that really can frustrate me with GW, is you have Heresy and you have 40k and you have Age of Sigmar and you have Kill Team, etc. Right, etc., etc., etc. Under the umbrella of Games Workshop, the umbrella of one single company, right? That company owns all of those different games, but you would honestly believe, without any doubt, that they all operate under completely separate management chains and in completely separate silos. Because certain things, comparatively, just don't make sense. The Age of Sigmar app, really good. 40k app, complete dog shit. Age of Sigmar battle tomes include painting guides. 40k ones don't. 40k 10th edition rules layout, really, really good. Heresy rules out, complete dog shit. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's all over the place. Right? Gets me. Mandy, did I miss a nice run? Oh, hey Mandy, how are you? Oh, I'm late, she says. No, you're fine. We're trying to fund £700 for a 3D printer and hit 900 members in a night. We're not doing either right now. That's all you've missed. So, you know. But we have been live for nearly 2.5 hours. I think I'm going to stop in 10 minutes because I'm getting tired. Heresy is historical wargaming, so the more confusing, dense, and poorly laid out the rules are, the better the game. Yeah, the more it appeals to the standard historical wargamer as well, John, right? Would you like me to teach you and Joe how to play Heresy? I'm not against learning how to play it at all, Lehman, to be fair. I don't think I'd struggle. To be honest with you, considering how much 7th I played, I don't think I'd really struggle to learn Heresy. I don't think that'd be a problem. But it's just the way it's laid out is frustrating. Like, you need more space. So you go to a table, you don't have space to open up 2 big, thick, fucking Heresy rulebooks. You just don't have space for that. Like, you can't do it. So you kind of need to know what you're doing already, or know the keywords already, which is the problem. You have to learn a lot more than just build a quick reference. And again, this is what I'm saying about the accessibility of 10th being so high, is because it feels like everything's going to be quick reference, right? They did the rules like that to stop you thinking about how much money you just spent on resin. Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. Have I got... Hang on. I thought I had a Heresy rulebook down here. I must have moved it or got rid of it. Oh, it'll be in the... Hang on. It'll be in the bottom of this big daddy. Oh, I'm not going to get all that plastic out now, actually. Fuck that. Just for the sake of a 2-minute example, I'm not going to get all that plastic out right now. Like the stream, you shits. Do that thing. 236 likes, 311 people. We can definitely get it to 300 likes before you go. Do it now. For Heresy, I made unit cards with everything on them. I mean, I'm assuming Battlescribe is Heresy supporting. So it'll make things like that easier, right? It'd be interesting if Wahapedia was as well. Remember as well, you won't need all of those rules depending on what you are running. You won't need most of them. Yeah, but this is my point, Ozzy, right? Again, back to 10th and how 10th is getting it so right. You don't need a data sheet. You just don't take the card with you. But you're still going to need, for Heresy, you're still going to need the Heretic Astartes book, and you're still going to need the core rule book if you're running Sons of Horus like I'm intending to. Right? So you're right. You don't need to take you don't need all those rules. But you still have to take both books with you. So you still got to take the same. If you take a heretic army in Heresy and you bring 4 data sheets, right? That's it. You still need both full books. Battlescribe is currently not finished yet for Heresy. Still lots of errors. That's a shame. GW should pay Wahapedia to put up the rules for Heresy 2.0. They should 100%. They should. 100% they should. Find the ones you do need is still admittedly a pain in the ass to find out. Yeah, absolutely. Nice to see you spray those Italian badges grey already. Yeah, nice grey colour in the back there. Don't judge me. Look, I have no shame about my hobby magpie-ishness. I think most of us are probably very similar, right? And I'm very lucky I have a Joe. So when I get bored of painting things, I just give them to him. I'm just saying. They are load-bearing tomes. It's a great way of explaining them. The Heresy book is propping his desk up. It probably is, actually. Probably is. It probably is, in fact, load-bearing. Crisis is probably not that far wrong. Right, people, you've got 7 minutes. 7 minutes, 7 members, right? 650. Go. You can do that. I believe in you, chat. I believe in you. And then tomorrow night, we get to talk about the Adeptus Sororitas rules, right? I've got the feeling that they've got versions of the Heresy rulebook and army books, which might make things easier. Wouldn't it be... I mean, I don't think they can do this, and I don't think they'd fit, to be fair. So this might be an actual impossibility. But wouldn't it be great if they looked at the positive feedback that I think they're getting from 10th edition data cards and went, hey, you know... why don't we just do this for everything else? Like, why don't we do this for Heresy? I feel like that's reasonable. Why don't we go, let's just release all the units on data cards and sell them? Right, do you have more paints or more spanners? Definitely paints. Take care of your health, be patient, and be consistent. Thanks for bringing up this topic. Thanks, Evan. You're a hero. Thank you for the 5, man. What a legend. They do have the ebooks, but the Liber Codex books don't have indexes. Ugh. Shocking, man. Shocking. Dave, thank you for the 1. Tony for the 5. Cool, Gemini for the 1. We did it. Just 3 of you. Thank you so much. You beautiful humans. Oh, no, that's not right. Now we just need the 50 to get to 700. You've got 5 minutes. I'm joking, by the way. Don't do that. But thank you so much for the gifts, you beautiful humans. You're amazing people, and I love you very dearly. 650. There we go. Okay, that's a reasonable round number, right? It's a reasonable round number. Instead of paying to look up stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to... Basically, Ed, I want to play Heresy so much that I'm just going to have to get over it. Right? Ultimately, that's it. I just have to get over the fact that they're in multiple books. It's just not... It made me rage quit before, but I'm so keen to give it a go that I think I'm just gonna have to just grizz it and just learn. And I think I'm gonna start with like the bog standard stuff. So I'm gonna start learning with essentially Age of Darkness box, and maybe a named character or something. Okay, so a named character, 40 Marines, a Spartan, a Contemptor. Done. Let's play. Right. I just joined the channel. What are your main armies in 40k? I listed these off earlier. What do I play in 40k? I play Eldar, Harlequins, World Eaters, Astra Militarum. I have played Tyranids in the past. Admech.
If anyone is struggling to enter Horus Heresy, think of the Warhammer Fantasy rule set, exactly the same base rules. P.S. Joe is a national...
Joe is a national treasure, Denarian. Thank you so much for the 10, as are you, hero. I play Votan. I probably missed it. I've played Necrons in the past. I played Demons, Khorne Demons specifically, but I have played multiple Demons. There's nothing I won't play apart from Tau. That's about the only thing. I don't play Eric, to be fair. But thank you for joining the channel as well. You're a hero. Thank you so much, man. If you check out the level, there's loads of levels that gives you loads of different stuff. So you pick the one that's right for you. Liam, drop me a message in Discord because I'm happy to travel and teach you and Joe to play Heresy, and I'll bring my collection. That's very kind of you, Liam. I'll let you know. Thanks, man. I appreciate the offer. You're amazing. Adeptus Sororitas incoming tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to talk about them tomorrow night. It's just tanks, and the melee troops don't exist in plastic, and the characters for the Legions Bar 2 is sparse. They're clever as well, right? I was looking at this the other day, and the Space Marines cost X, and then you can buy the heavy weapons, which cost X, and I'm like, this is... And it looks like good value despite the fact it's actually quite expensive. But I was like, this I'm actually not against the way they've done it. Like, you get the Marines, and then you have to buy a box of 40 heavy weapons, right? I reckon Liam's going to get loads of Heresy stuff between now and 10th. He'll definitely stick with it once the new edition launch 2. Can't wait. Exactly, Eddie. Yeah? So you get it. You know. No, I don't think I...
Just play it, man. I did the same with Bolt Action. Now I love it.
Oh, Bolt Action's a great game, though, to be fair. Right. Right, 2 minutes, team, then we're going. 2 minutes. Lol, even, yeah. I mean, I don't care. I'm having fun and I enjoy my hobby, Eddie, so fuck you. And I've probably almost painted as many models as you have for your Necrons. What codex release from what edition do you love the most? That's a real tough one. I very much enjoyed the Eldar Codex from 9th. I've also really enjoyed the World Eaters Codex. Guard in 9th was really strong. I really like Guard in 5th. I felt like Guard in 5th felt like more like Guard. Like, does that make sense? Because of platoons and stuff. I felt like it felt more like Guard. I liked a lot of previous Eldar Codexes as well. There was an old Chaos Codex, which I loved as well. Abaddon was a beast. It's hard, Dave. I can't give you an answer on that one, I'm afraid. Welcome to the 16th Legion and the War Master Zone. Yeah, well. Here's the other thing, right? I have always wanted to try and paint Sons of Horus. And it might be a complete flop, but at least I'm going to give it a go. And I've not overextended, right? I've built one Space Marine to do a test paint scheme. If I enjoy the test paint scheme for this one single Space Marine... Although I will confess already, I didn't enjoy trying to sand the shoulder pad together, which some twat decided to put in 2 halves on a sprue. And another person at GWHQ that absolutely should be sacked. Why when they have put these shoulder pads, these knobbly bobbly shoulder pads, why have they, when they put them on sprues before in complete pieces, did some twat decide to cut them in fucking half for heresy models? Should be sacked. Oh, that he was already on his last day. Right, Chaos 3.5. There you go. That's the one. Right. Anyway, you beautiful people. It is now 10 o'clock at night. Right. I've still got stuff to do this evening, believe it or not. I now have to go out to feed Brom's cat because he's away for a week, and I said I'd cat sit. And if you know anything about me, you also know that I fucking hate cats. But thankfully, I love Brom, so I've got to go and do that. Right. So the 10th edition data cards are very much formatted like current day kill team cards. That's interesting. But anyway, so I've got to go and do that now. So instead of streaming all the way till 10:30 like we normally do on a Tuesday, I'm going to kill it now so I can go and do that and get into bed at a reasonable time. So I get tomorrow and do some jogging and then do some hobbying and then make some shorts for Titans and get ready to stream for you people again tonight. Right? The split pad was a big deal apparently. Really? Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you so much for all of the donations. 10% of our Super Chat revenue does get donated to charity all the time. So thank you so much for that. Thank you to all the new people who have joined the channel of their own accord, and a massive thank you to everybody who gifted members. You guys are amazing. ! Discord if you want to make sure you get yourself in the Great Hall server and come and hang out with us. Once you get into Discord, follow the instructions. Make sure you unlock the Discord properly. If you don't link your you hate cats, unsubscribes. If you don't link your YouTube account to your Discord account, it won't unlock it properly and you'll be like, this Discord's dog shit. There's nowhere to talk, but it's because you haven't linked it, right? We do keep it behind the paywall because we want to make sure we keep all the trolls out. It's worth it. Trust me, okay? Having been in servers where trolls are getting very, very easily is definitely worth it. But thank you so much for hanging out with us. You guys are incredible. If you've enjoyed the stream, don't forget to give it a like. And if you've really, really enjoyed it, wait till we've cancelled the stream and then go in there and drop a comment and be like, hey, I really like the Aston Retirement rules, or that Shadow Sword's ridiculous, or I don't like Demons, or whatever it might be, right? Let me know. But please stick that in the comment section below. I try and read every single comment. Okay? And sometimes I even respond to people. I try and do that too. But come and hang out with us in Discord. If you have been gifted a membership, check out our members-only benefits and think about upgrading. You can join the Jarls tier, for example, for another £4. That gets you access to the Combat Patrol giveaway that we do every single month. You can also join the Huskars. I put a big update on there for the Huskars yesterday. If you are a Huskar and you haven't looked at the YouTube community section on YouTube yesterday, go and have a look at something super special I'm really excited for, right? And I haven't shared that with many people yet, just the Huskars and above. You can join the Thanes and come and join me in WhatsApp and then get my number and send me dick pics all the time if you really want to, like Dave does. Anyway, that's it from me tonight, people. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.